Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Dralkin, thank you for being here so early. Adna, kind of first, but Dralkin redeemed first, making him first. Adna, while I was like prepping for live, I saw the your blurb or your walk on. I'm like, I'm not even live yet. Blurb, calm down. But it, went off. So it is what it is. Age, what's going on? Tendo. The thing is, you said that, and I'm like, and I started like, you can't see my face, right? But I was laughing behind my screen because I was like, well, she's about to. So it's like I can hear her like exiting her stream. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty funny. Hill, glad to see you here, buddy. Hill, who is not oblivious, though somebody might like to think that they are oblivious. Welcome in. Age the Wise, Fervine, B, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Let me get some music up and going so we can have some background music. Guys, I'm not really like looking forward to this part, but I'm just going to rip this Band-Aid off, get it out of the way, get it done. And we'll kind of like go from there. I have like kind of written some thoughts down to help me kind of pace myself. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to have like a little bit of a struggle with the pacing of this thing, but give me 1 second. No, that's not the one I want. What's the song I want? Here we go. Let's go with this. What's the song that I want? Whoa, hey, whoa, where's Rick? With the 59, dude. 59. Thank you so much, Grizz.
59.
That is not the right song either. That's the wrong vibe. It's very active. It's a very active vibe. Let me find the right song. There's a song on here that I kind of like really like. That's kind of like in my head. It's vibing with me, but I'm trying to find it. Now we'll go with this one. Fuck it. Maybe we'll go with this one. This one seems a little bit too soft. Where is it? Where's the one that I want? I want one specific one, and I can't find it. I think it is this. Yeah, this is it. Okay, The Price of Freedom. I like this one. This will be good. This is the right vibe. Okay, give me 2 seconds, guys. Let me pull everything up. All right. You can jump in the Discord. Discord's not being transmitted yet. You can jump in there if you'd like, though. It's just not being transmitted right now. You can be in the channel. It's not going to hurt anything. I need to figure out how I guess I want to phrase this. So I'm just going to start, guys. Obviously, today's stream is, and again, I don't care how many people are here right now. I'm going to just start right now. If somebody really wants to watch this part, they can watch it in the VOD. I really don't mind. All right. I have to start with a preface. And the preface is about my guild in general and how my guild is operated. Because for some reason, people like to fetishize, or not fetishize, not the right word, but like fantasize in their mind about what the hunters actually are. And it's kind of funny. There was one of my newer members, I think it was Chriselle. He and I were talking about generational differences, and it kind of like really brought it home for me why there's so many issues between some of the Zoomers out there and the existing hunters. And it's because we just operate very differently. Our mental capacities are different, and we'll get to that. I'll get back to that later on. But just kind of something interesting to think about. So, the Kinsworn Hunters. The hunters are unique to every other guild on Black Desert Online, and probably MMOs in general for a lot of reasons. Some of them I'll get into here. The original rule set that we kind of established around the Kinsworn Hunters is very much the clans from the Mech Warrior days. That was where most of our rooting is. So it's all based on kind of BattleTech universe clans, and that's a lot of the traditions we have are from, because that's the game that spawned us. We started a Mech Warrior, and we keep those traditions. And as time has gone on, we're a bit of an anachronism where most guilds don't operate the same way that these guilds used to back in the day. Back then, if you left your guild, it was kind of a matter of grave consequence. And nowadays, it's not so much the same. Everyone just feels free to guild hop. So the depth of relationships that people build between each other is pretty shallow, right? My guild is very much a close-knit community. The structure is somewhere between familial and militaristic. For those of you that are not in the military, well, you might think, well, what does that mean? It means this guild is designed in a way that lets you build meaningful, close relationships, both online and real life, that last for decades. We have rules. We openly lay out from day one, from day zero. I can't even say day one. It's day zero. Before you even join, we lay out every single rule set so you can choose whether you want in or not. You know, when you apply, we even try and dissuade you with some of the bigger rules that tend to turn people off. As long as you follow the rules, your membership will never be in jeopardy. We don't care what your gear score is, or what character you play, or how many hours you spend doing a specific type of content. We don't force you to show up for shit you don't want to be a part of, such as enforcing strict node war or siege war attendance to keep your position in the guild. We do, however, have other requirements that are equally enforced, as you may expect from other guilds. They're just different. You know, we don't have that time requirement for node wars, but, you know, we have a color requirement for your outfit. It's not bad. It's not malicious. It's just different. Music's loud. Okay, let me, it shouldn't be loud, but. Why is it louder? You guys said this last time. It was like louder, and I don't really know why. Hold on, let me go back to it. I think the reason that it was loud was it was double playing. It shouldn't be louder than me. I should be way louder than the music. The music is sitting at like a nice 30%. So the music is still loud, you're saying? It's about even. It doesn't even remotely look about even on my bars. I'm like literally 20 decibels higher. Is it really? All right, I'll lower it. How's that? Is that better? Okay, let me try doing it this way though instead. What if I did it like this? I think that might be, no, it's not better for you guys. How about this? There, that should be good. I think that should be perfect. That's weird. You guys usually don't have issues with the sound audio, but that's weird. Okay. Cool. All right. So as I was saying, you know, we don't have those structures where we force activity or force gear score or force you to do X, Y, and Z or show up for so and so much times a day, or you have to be active this many times a day or whatever. And a lot of guilds do that, and that's fine. That's those guilds. That's their rules. That's how they choose to operate. My guild doesn't operate that way. It's because our guild's focus is something different than most guilds in most games. I've talked about these things like openly many times. And if I need to do a Q&A on it after this segment because you guys want that, like I'm fine with that. You guys are welcome to ask questions, but let me just kind of get through this stuff. What this ultimately means is for many of you folks that are in the military, this is like a unit that you never PCS away from. The big appeal for most folks of, you know, that are looking into this guild is the structure. The structure of the guild and the rules that some people find odd or off-putting are quite literally the thing that attracts people to the hunters most. How palatable you find that is really up to you. If it's not for you, great. I, and by extension, we do not openly recruit, and you will never see us advertise. We only ask an individual to join if we know them well already and we want them in the guild, which is pretty rare. People that apply to the hunters, see the rules, understand what the guild's asking for, and think, fuck yeah, that's definitely for me. I want in on that. Those are the ones that we're interested in. We're not interested in the guys that feel like they're making a compromise that they are going to have to struggle with in the future, you know, to maintain their loyalty to the guild, right? The guild is essentially focused on building a good community within itself. Our group has an organizational backbone unlike any other. And nothing I say will do it justice to represent that. Words alone can't explain how many times someone has needed a strong support network, and we were exactly that. It can't explain how many lives were changed for the better, and how many people we have individually saved from self-harm, loneliness, financial ruin, homelessness, or any number of terrible fates that befall people. I can't tell you how many miles across the earth my guild has collectively crossed to be there for each other in real life. And I can't tell you how many hours online we spent on one another, helping each other out through the hardest times of our lives, or working to complete a specific in-game objective. There's so many good, wholesome, and genuinely fucking funny moments that have that even attempting to summarize it would take me hours, if not days, and I'd still fall short. I provided many examples before and think of so many more on the fly, but that's not the point of this discussion. And I'm not trying to inspire people to apply right now when the guild is somewhat at capacity anyway. I just have to put them on hold anyway until we're not at capacity. I have been streaming for several years now, and I have not once ever come on a stream and tried to get people to join the guild. Quite frankly, I don't have to. I get more applications than we can reasonably handle, and it honestly takes time for me to integrate new members into the guild. Kanata Hero, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Appreciate that. Have you guys ever introduced a new person into your social group? And what if the vibe of that person is like off? Or what if they do something that makes other people not want to be around? Like, how do you handle that? You ever see someone in voice chat and because that person is there, you don't want to join it? What sort of other effects does that have on the guild as a whole? It can be really ostracizing. Most guilds do not take the time or steps necessary to vet their membership. They have other in-game focuses that are more important to them. And that doesn't make it right or wrong. We just have different objectives. In the Hunters, the focus is literally the community. It means that introducing one person into that community can throw off an entire group's social dynamic, and it can be very detrimental to the guild. So we want to introduce people in slowly. It's okay for us to take our time. There's no need for us to rush that, right? I've said this many times before, and hold on one second. Excuse me. I've said this many times before, and I'll say it many times in the future. I do not want to vet members of my guild who don't want to be in the guild. Or I don't want members of my guild who don't want to be in the guild. I've said it to my guild mates. I say it to everybody. People know this. If you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. And that's not a unique feeling to me. My entire guild feels the same fucking way. We have an efficient system in place that vets and weeds out 99% of the people who do not fit into the social setting. People getting weeded out because they have shitty behaviors that they may have picked up over a lifetime in other guilds, that's a thing. But also, we do try and work and address and correct those behaviors directly. Like, if we see there's a problem, we try and talk about it. We're like, hey, man, we noticed that you're doing X, Y, and Z. So we try and talk about those things that we see as a problem that most people will just avoid you with. They won't give you the time of day to address those problems, right? In our guild, because we're so focused on the community, it does matter to us. It makes a big difference. You know, we want people to become the best version of themselves, not just the version of themselves that continuously get them avoided. And when we identify problematic behavior, we talk about it, not, just leader to member, even though that member may only see it leader to member. We talk about it as an entire guild, right? So people get weeded out because they have those shitty behaviors. Behaviors like using their emotions as weapons against others, or spazzing out in game because things didn't go their way, or dropping slurs casually in voice chat or text, or manipulating facts to win disingenuous arguments. This isn't a process that I individually must manage. The guild itself is entirely structured to manage that. And those people get filtered out pretty quickly. The guild is quite literally structured to resolve those sorts of behaviors. If there's someone who was a hunter and they're no longer a hunter, there's probably a very good reason. And they will never tell you what it is. I, on the other hand, have absolutely no problem telling you what it is. It's if what we're saying is like, if what somebody you might have known was a hunter at one point and they're no longer a hunter, if it sounds like they've never done anything or anyone wrong, then they're probably full of shit. You can figure out that for yourself just by speaking to them with like a critical mind in mind. You can kind of observe their other behaviors. No one is perfect, myself included. I am, however, more experienced in the operation of my guild than any other human being on this planet. I've been leading this guild for literally 29 years. You could take the word of someone who either fucked up, flopped out, or crashed out, or you could just ask me and I'll lay it out. You can make your own decision. I personally do not care either way. The reality is, I don't really have anything to hide, and I'm more than happy talking about this shit. Usually the reason I don't usually is to protect the person, not to protect myself. Because 9 times out of 10, they probably fucking crashed out and the guild just ejected them. To be quite honest, the best thing somebody can do for the guild when they leave is just to fuck off. You didn't want to be here, and It's either one of two things. Like either you didn't want to be here or you weren't wanted here. There's no law or ruling that says we need to interact with each other. That said, there have been plenty of instances where someone has left my guild and we're still friends. Usually, what that requires is that they leave the guild amicably or they crash out, whatever it is, come back and apologize, right? Hey, man, that was fucked up. Like normal human shit. I acted like an idiot, right? And then show through their actions and words that they aren't trying to hurt, harass, annoy, or behave in a way that is uncharacteristic of themselves towards the guild as a whole or its members. I don't think that's a big ask. Basically, if you don't leave the guild like an asshole over a crash out, and then when we see you, you aren't behaving like a retarded asshole, we'll probably be civil with you and treat you the same way we would anyone else. So now that I've talked about the guild, a little preamble, now I'm going to get into why I'm about to do this. To preface, I take no pleasure in addressing this. Normally, I don't care what some dipshit loser wants to go on the internet and lie about. However, this is someone I did consider a friend, and the person we're talking about is another streamer called NiceToesBros. One who originally said that they did not want any drama.
Why you have to be mad?
And well, good timing, Chris. One that originally said they didn't want any drama, and I told them that I'd respect that. The next thing we know, this person goes on stream making absolutely ridiculous false claims while being encouraged to make shitty comparisons by bad faith chatters. I felt like we had left on good enough terms, and I did wish him the best as well as offered him assistance to get back home because he had moved out here. Not just this time, but several times before and in person conversations and otherwise. Like he wanted to go home, and in his mind he had conflated this, but we'll get into that in a bit, right? The day after he left, he immediately went to a stream and used the situation to create drama and buzz to attract more people to his channel. On the first day, he claimed he wanted to move on from the Hunters and put it past him, to quote-unquote go back to his old self. However, every stream since then, with the exception of the most recent one, after I announced that I would be doing this, he has talked about me and my guild. It is clear that he realizes that being an ex-Kinsworn Hunter draws more attention to him than just being himself. He preemptively banned myself and members of my guild from his streams, and then he also set those streams so those who are banned can't watch them. He then deleted or unpublished the VOD, I'm not sure which, thinking this will make his actions invisible to the community. The reason that Toes preemptively banned us from his stream and established a quote-unquote, in his own words, hunter-free space before addressing the controversial topic was because he can't handle direct criticism. I'm actually going to adjust my title so that everyone knows exactly who we're talking about. NiceToesBros. I'm not trying to be ambiguous at all. Cool. All right. Toes is fully aware that his arguments easily fall apart under close examination, driving him to avoid direct discussion in favor of indirect confrontation where he cannot immediately be challenged. Toes relies heavily on having a circle of supporters to validate and defend those otherwise flawed and indefensible positions. His intent was to lie to an audience to gain views, follows, donations, and benefits by defrauding the viewers through dishonest tactics. He's using their sympathies and appealing to their better natures while he is intentionally lying, manipulating, and misrepresenting the facts under the guise of quote-unquote truth-telling. I wouldn't do this if I was not already being approached by people. I wouldn't do this if the claims didn't affect my relationships with people that I see as friends outside the Hunters. I'm already being approached with questions, so I'd like to just address this once thoroughly and then move on. I don't normally get into the details of why someone leaves my guild. And quite frankly, it's no one's business. It's disgusting rubbernecking behavior that I find super weird because people fixate on the Hunters and some sort of bizarro roleplay headcanon they invent between their ears. I also don't want to have to do this again, so I'll likely export this as an unlisted video or something on YouTube so I can refer to it if I need to. This situation as a whole really sucks. There is one person in this who I can definitively say is a victim, and it's not Toes. And it's not me either. Toes' bad decision-making has put one person in a situation where if he doesn't fulfill his legal obligations on the apartment that they rented together, the guy may end up literally homeless and is definitively screwed. We'll get into that a little later, though. I'm going to keep the conversation as focused on the claims as I can. And I'm not going to dive down the rabbit holes of his weird-ass behavior. nor will I dox him with real-life information such as names or locations, and I definitely do not plan to talk about anything that isn't relevant to the situation at hand. Any locations or specific details, such as where he works, mentioned I'll only mention them if he's mentioned them himself. And I'm only going to bring them up if it's related to things that he has directly said in his own stream when talking about us. I am merely put in this situation because I have to defend myself against the claims. And they're nasty claims. All right. So now on to the story. Now we've gotten all the little details out of the way. I first met Toes through a mutual friend named Raminia. I didn't really have a high opinion of him when I first met him. He came off to me as an egotistical shitter, the kind who gets off on griefing others to make himself feel like less of a failure. He spent countless days and nights harassing harmless role players, hunting down the same players who don't have the power to fight back just to get them to talk about him, chasing people around who he knew he could bully, such as folks, boss hunting raw, that were in hunting gear, and a number of other just shitty attention-seeking behaviors. Though he acted like this in-game, my friend trusted him. Because they trusted him, and I trusted her, I gave him a shot. He spent roughly a year chatting in my community. In that time, I saw a lot of weird cringe shit. I'm not going to get into every detail of it because it's not the point of the discussion, and as I said earlier, I'm not diving down these rabbit holes. At some point, he moved in with Raminia, who was at the time either living in LA or really close to it. 2 months later, Raminia kicked him out. The vibe that I got, I'm not going to speak on Raminia's experience. I don't have that experience myself, but the vibe that I got was that he made her uncomfortable with his advances. He, and this is known across the Hunters because he's done it in front of many of us, he still refers to her as his girlfriend, even though they never dated. And he didn't pay her any of the rent that she was owed. Rent they needed in order to afford living together. This part becomes relevant later. After that, Raminia had completely cut ties with him. I'm not going to speak on to the specifics as to why, but she completely cut ties with him. And she also cut ties with anyone associated with him. He moved back in with his parents in Ohio and picked up his old job at Amazon. Toes was in our friend group thanks to Raminia, but since Raminia had cut everyone off due to association with Toes, we kind of had to make a choice in a vacuum on whether we should associate with her or we should associate with him. From the outside looking in, it had looked like Raminia had screwed Toes over. He left his job to go move out there with her, and she was demanding rent from him the very next month. This is actually pretty normal. If you move out somewhere, you usually have to pay a security deposit, first month's rent up front. You need to pay every month of rent after that. But they were friends, and I figured that there'd be some leniency there for him. I felt bad for the guy. I let him stay in our circle in the situation because he was clearly very isolated. I let him stay in our Discord over her because he was isolated. And if we dropped him, he'd have lost his entire social structure as far as I could tell. This detail is important, and I'll refer back to it a little later. Up to this point, he wasn't even a member of the Hunters. He was just a guy we met through Raminia. I spent some time getting to know him a little better. When TwitchCon 2024 came around, I met him in person there for the first time. He was running around with a group of people, Lintagram, Deathscript, and some other dude, I don't remember his fucking name, in some weird four-way love triangle. They were all competing for Lintagram's attention. It was super cringe. I'm not going to talk about it, but it was fucking weird. Right. And there's a lot of people that saw that in person and can attest to how fucking weird that was. It wasn't long after that, maybe a couple months later, that he applied to join the Hunters. He knew his life was headed in a bad direction and he needed to change. He wanted mentorship, and I take my role as a leader pretty seriously. When somebody says, hey, I want to join the Hunters, I don't take that lightly. I take that, as an honor to some degree because they're asking for some leadership, some mentorship in life. Right. The day after he joined, he was chat banned for a month. He was banned for saying to some role player, I think it was a Shy. I don't remember this exactly, but I do remember the quote verbatim. The words that got him banned was, cocky go boing boing. Yes, he actually said that. and his account was on its final strike. So they banned him for a month from chat. He had to curb his worst habits that was inevitably going to get his account banned. This included his habits of chasing players around and harassing role players, chasing players from server to server to player kill them, hopping through boss train channels to camp rah-rah, and using in-game exploits to cause players to go red or otherwise die. This is what he means when he says that we had some controlling behavior. And I'll pull up the clips and we'll readdress these later, right? When he talks about us, these are the controlling quote-unquote behaviors we're talking about. For example, when he went out to go stream snipe, it's Nikki, and we're like, don't do that. When he went to stream snipe Shroud, we were like, don't do that, that shit's cringe. That's the controlling behavior that he's talking about. Us telling him not to stream snipe streamers who are just playing the game and trying it out, right? I digress. He'd do shit like this, and we'd tell him that wasn't cool. He didn't want to be associated, the guild, didn't want to be associated with that behavior, and it had to stop. Really early on after he joined, he let us know that his situation at home was terrible. Toes spent literally years, nearly 2 full years, telling us how bad his home life was. I have a lot of details on this, and I'll show the screenshots and evidence of this later, right? But out of respect for his privacy, I'm going to keep it pretty light. His father was physically abusive towards him, and he hated him. And he told us in chat and on voice nearly every day how bad his life was there and how much he wanted to get away from Ohio. I got to know this guy over time, and once again, I felt really bad for him. I knew I was in a position where I could help the guy out, so I offered him the same thing I've offered lots of people. I told him if he wanted to get out of there, he could stay with me until he gets on his feet. I won't charge him a dime for the living conditions or utilities. He'd just have to pay for his own food. And once he's sustainable, he can move out on his own. When I say I've made this offer to a lot of people, I mean a lot of people. There's people in this stream that I made that same offer to that now live on their own successfully. There's people that no longer are friends with me that joined the Hunters for a time that were living in a really shitty situation. I had one guy that was literally living in a dog shelter. And I pulled him out of that situation. I helped him get into the military. He got a $50,000 bonus thanks to me. It's a lot of shit, right? His life is good, but we're not friends anymore. I don't go around harassing the guy, but it is what it is. I'm happy that his life is better. I'm happy that he's not living in a fucking dog shelter, right? I've even made this offer to help out people like Fake Uni. When his house got flooded and he was in a bad situation, I said, hey man, you can come stay with me for as long as you'd like. If I make the offer and someone takes me up on it, I've never rescinded the offer. I follow through. I've done this probably a dozen times now. You may ask yourself, why would anyone do such a thing? The reason to me is simple. When I moved back to the United States from Africa, I was in a really tough situation. I had about $3,000 in my pocket, and that was it. I had lived overseas from the time that I transitioned from a minor to an adult, and I came here without my parents. I needed an ID to get a job and a bank account. I need a residence to get an ID and a bank account. I needed a bank account to get a job and a residence, and I needed a job to get a residence. I desperately needed a hand up, and it never came. Through a tremendous amount of hard work, dedication, and genuine effort, I'm successful today. I struggled for years to get a solid base underneath me. And if I could provide that hand up for someone else so they don't have to suffer like I did, I would do so gladly. I care about people, and I've lived up to that. I'm going to use Hildyne's situation as an example, and it's relevant to the story because it's embedded in the depth of this. When I met Hildyne, he used to go by Hildegard. I think I met him through choice, actually, like when we were grinding Olin's Valley. After that, we knew of each other, but we didn't talk much. One day he applies to the Hunters. Shortly after he joins, I found out that he had gotten out of the Marine Corps not too long ago, and basically he had a life plan that had fallen apart underneath him. It was a really unfortunate circumstance. Like that happens. I've seen it a lot with service members. They'll get out, they'll have a plan, the plan falls apart, and now they're like living in the worst situation. And I mean, everyone that knows me knows I love people, but I also really feel for our vets who served the country, made a sacrifice, giving years of their youth to this nation, and don't have anything to show for it. That's like really bad. I'd listen on YouTube, but stream isn't up over there. It's not. Are you sure? It looked like it was up. Let me take a look. I thought it was up on YouTube, but Stream Elements has been acting a little goofy since the dropout, so maybe not. Let me see. Sorry, give me a second. I'm just checking if it's on YouTube. I'm seeing it live on YouTube. Like I'm live. I'm watching it live on YouTube right now. So, yeah, I don't know why it looks that way. Sorry, buddy. I can see it that it's live though. So maybe it's just YouTube fuckery, something with the thing. I don't know. The gifted subs are really loud. They're going to be loud. They're going to be louder than everything else. I apologize, but I can't really have. I'd have to like completely edit everything out and change things while I'm live, and it's a lot of work to do. And it can be. Hold on. You know what? I'll just lower it. Fine. I'll lower it. There. I've lowered it. It should be fine now. Okay. Sorry. Now I got to remember where I was. Nice. So when I met Hill, obviously, like he had just gotten out of the Marine Corps, life plan fell apart, really unfortunate circumstances. He was working a job. He was working a job, but he was living in his car. So I remember like when we were talking about it, he had just joined the Hunters. I had sent him some money to get into an Airbnb for a night, but I couldn't like let a fellow veteran just live in his car. He just needed somewhere to like to tide him over while he was staying with one friend and another friend. And I'm like, hey man, you know, here's some money. You can stay in an Airbnb for a night or two, whatever, just between these places. So you're not just living in your car. He moved into his other friend's place, and then that fell apart on him too. And he ended up moving back into his car. I had only really known him a couple of months, but I felt deeply for his situation, and I threw him the same offer that I always do, and he took me up on it. Today, he's working a really solid job and has a place of his own. The reason I tell this part of the story is because it's going to be relevant later, so we will circle back to this. When I threw out the offer to Toes, he wanted to take me up on it. We had plenty of time to get the logistics together so he could earn money at his current job and job hunt for a new one here before he had moved out. He had around 4 months to do some job hunting ahead of his move. Again, I do have some proof of all the things that we've been saying. I don't know when the most appropriate time to show this is. I suppose I can try and show it right now. See if that works out. If it's jarring or if it's disjointed, you know, I'll do it differently, but I'll just throw it up right now. So we talked a little bit earlier about his home life. I'll show you what I'm talking about. My living situation is stressful. My parents and I have had this is 2024, guys, 2024. I wake up and deal with stress, then slave and go to work. Then I come home, and the only real place I can hang out with people is on Discord or something, because what the fuck else am I going to do? Billy Joe's Venison and Hut and talk to some old timers about Trump. It's just such a stark contrast when I was living with Ashley, which is Raminia. Back then, I could literally just walk outside and be able to see people in places. I felt safe there, and I thought I was living with someone who cared about me. And as you can see, there's multiple reactions here because this did not happen in a private chat, right? I said, most people feel that way about working, to be honest, and the living situation sounds crummy. That sounds like a stressful environment. Do you mind if I ask why the parental relationship is strained? He says, I'll DM you real fast. And our DMs were this. He says, okay, so basically, I only told Instagram this, but TLDR, I took some domestic violence from my mom and sister when I was a kid. My father tolerates me paying rent because my extended family pressures him to. I hate him and have to put in extra effort to avoid him pretty much all the time. I said, understood. Okay. So he's got a rough home life. That's not his fault. Right? So from the outside looking in, you'd think, oh, well, I want to help them out. So now let's talk about before he moved out here. Remember, I said he had about 7 months to prepare to move out here, right? Give me a second. Let me find out. Let me look at where it is. Okay. No, not that. There's a lot of stuff I have to like look at here. So like, I'm trying to see what's appropriate, what isn't appropriate to send. Sam, what drama is this? I'll get it. I can't be like, I'm not going to interrupt it and go back to it. The VOD will be up on Twitch if you want to see it, man. You can go back and watch from the beginning. Let's see here. Okay, so that was his home life before his move. Now, here's the job pickiness before his move. Remember, he had several months to find work, and you're going to see videos later on where he's going to say, he's going to misrepresent the situation and act like I brought him out to a fucking dead-end place that had no jobs when there's plenty of jobs here. But he also had time in advance to do this. We were talking as early as July about this, July 2025, right? He didn't, mind you, he moved in December, right? He said, I ended up calling someone a slur if I did work in customer service, not going to lie. I'm like, that sort of mentality is going to keep you in poor for life, bro. You got to evolve or stay in the muck with the other bugs. He's like, true. I think the safest way would be transfer Amazon sites. That way I can keep my career choice. I only blocked out things that are locations and too specific, right? My only issue is the closest one to you guys is in blank. Though, of course, I don't want to get my debts paid. I do want to get my debts paid down and my credit score back up first before I make any major moves. And I'm like, that is not close. That is really far away. He's like, yeah, that's the big issue with that strat. I'm like, you could still secure a job before you come out here. He's like, yeah, it's just a matter of finding a job that's right for me and one that I can get. I'm like, well, you'd be rent-free until you find work. Then you can move out somewhere nearby. I mean, that's if he stayed with me, which he didn't end up going, which that was not the route he took. He never actually stayed with me. And he's like, that's kind of like my fallback if I get kicked out and absolutely need a place to stay. I don't want to be a leech. And I respected that I don't want to be a leech shit, right? So let me open up the next one. I'm like, if you're proactive and not reactive, you won't be. Think about it like this. You, right now, while you are in a livable situation, apply for jobs here. You tell an interview, you get the job. You move out here, you stay out with me with zero cost, work out for a month or two, depending on your needs, store some paychecks, and move out nearby. And if you ever need anything, I'm in town. I plan to retire out here. I'm not moving again. He goes, I think this plan is more of a transitionary plan than Naku being dead broke again. I think the key is that would be the timing as to when I do that. I got my debts paid down. I finish up my RME classes and I'm a good, this is like some specific stuff about his job. I don't want to get too much into that. I'm like, so how long that would be, we think? He's like, if I put my nose to the grindstone, especially during peak, I could be finished probably by Christmas. Probably by Christmas. Just after Christmas is when he moved. I said, Jesus, all right, man. Well, if you have a plan for what you want to do, and I don't want to deter you from it. Pretty straightforward. He's got a plan. I'm fine with that plan. I'm just trying to help the guy out at the end of the day, right? So where was I with this? Yeah, so when I threw the offer, he wanted it. He had plenty of time to get the logistics together. He could earn money at his current job hunt for a few more months before he comes out. And then that gave him about 4 months based on the time frame to job hunt before his move. Instead of job hunting, he straight up didn't do that. He played Black Desert Online with every moment of his free time when he wasn't at work. And instead of job hunting, he just grinded or griefed someone in game. I personally went to places of employment in this town to get him contacts with people in charge of hiring at various sites and told him to follow up with them. He either didn't follow up at all or would call them one time and never again. So like, imagine you are the project manager of a construction site and somebody says, hey, are you hiring? And you say, yes, I am. And you say, hey, here's my number. Have that person call me. And I relay that number. And then that person calls them and he says, hey, I'm on a site right now. I need you to come in and put an application in. And they don't call you back. He wouldn't call them back either. This is childish shit. This is somebody who just doesn't really care to work. He wouldn't work anywhere that had an appearance standard that would make him cut his hair. He wouldn't work anywhere in customer service or in food service. He wouldn't work in food service because, again, he thought that was below him. And again, if you work in food service in this chat, I apologize, but that was below him, apparently. Right? It is what it is. And he didn't want to work in customer service because, again, in his own words, he said he would call them a slur. I think you saw that, right? Yeah, you guys saw that in the first screenshot, so I don't need to pull that up. If I was absolutely same. If I was jobless, I would take the first job that I had available to me. Anyway, he didn't follow up at all, or would call them one time and never call them again. If they didn't keep calling him, he would consider that a closed prospect. When he finally moved out here, he told me he wasn't willing to work jobs that were food service or customer service related, that he wouldn't work anywhere that had an appearance standard that made him cut his hair. That was news to me, because I know at one point he wanted to join the military, which makes you cut your hair. He then expressed a bunch of anti-US and pro-China sentiments to extremist levels. I didn't really know what to make of the situation, but he needed a job, so I continued to try and find him work that fit within his very narrow criteria. They literally told me to have him call them and they'd hire him. He'd call once, and I think they had him apply and refused to call them back. Things like that would happen, and it was pretty common. This isn't happening in a vacuum, mind you. Where do you guys live? Where you guys live, they have Walmarts? Yes, Tulico, they have Walmarts. And Walmart is actually a part of the story, and I'll get to that in a minute. Everywhere you go out here, there are signs on almost every business that say, now hiring. Toes tries to sell some snake oil like there were no one out here was actually hiring, when that's not reflective of the truth at all. Chris, my own wife, hadn't worked a job in 5 years before we moved out here. And while he was here, she was able to find a work-from-home job within a week. The issue with Toes isn't that there weren't any jobs available. It's that he was so damn picky about the jobs that he was willing to work that he straight up refused to apply to some places until the deadline for his first month's rent both came and went. He looked at jobs in the food service industry or customer service or Walmart and Target as they were below him. If you worked at Walmart or Target, he saw those as below him, so he didn't want to work there. The reason he'd quote unquote, and you'll see this in the clips later, and we'll address it again here, the reason he drained his savings had nothing to do with the money that he was spending here, because aside from food, he wasn't being charged anything. It had everything to do with the fact that he pays almost $550 a month for a fucking 2020 Honda Civic, because he got himself scammed on the sales prices with a super high interest rate. That's just for the car payment. I had advised him not to either refinance or trade it in. I didn't know this until after he had moved, but he couldn't do that. And the reason he couldn't do that was because he had thrashed his own credit by failing to pay student loans. It was a shitty situation that he had put himself in, and this was all before his move. After he moved here, he could have DoorDashed, which he did for a couple of days to get money for food. But that was the only time he would. He also worked for Walmart Spark, which is like Walmart's delivery service, and in his own words, was actually really good money. But instead of grinding that to build a surplus, he would play Black Desert Online and only do that as he needed to eat. In the meantime, we, and I say we as in like all the hunters that lived here locally, myself, Adna, Vizrend, Hildyne, Chrysidra, we paid for his food and recreation. My friends from my own work, when we went out, would also pay for his drinks. We'd buy him shirts. We'd buy him furniture. We did all kinds of shit. Right? Chris, who is basically disabled, straight up cooked for him. For her to cook for somebody is not easy. It takes a lot of effort for her to do that because she has rheumatoid arthritis. Repetitive motions such as cooking cause her pain. So I didn't want him to feel like he was trapped. So like we took him out to movies, we took him out for drinking party, we bought him foods, we took him on vacations. And it was all at no cost to him. He finally started working a job around like mid-March. Now he was working there, now that he was working and there was some money coming in, right? I found out in the meantime that he had fallen behind on his payments. He was driving around without car insurance, and that's why he couldn't do Walmart Spark or DoorDash on the side. He said he didn't want to leech, and I told him that you can't drive around fucking dirty, bro. You can't drive around without car insurance. You're basically creating a situation where you can be arrested anytime you get in your car. So I said, I have money on hand. I can give you money for your car insurance, I can pay for your car insurance. So I was willing to help him a hand because I didn't want to see the guy get arrested because he was an absolutely shit driver. Anyone that knows him can tell you this dude buries his face in Google Maps because he cannot recollect where a road is, even if it's right in front of him, right? After I gave him $150 to pay for his car insurance, he said, oh, I actually had $180. I said, instead of worrying about paying me back right away, you can hang on to the money until you're more financially stable and pay me back after your next paycheck. He was still pretty tight, so we continued to pay for his recreation, taking him out to movies and even grocery shopping just for him. When we went to the Oasis, for example, we paid for 100% of the transportation and the majority of the lodging. He had a 3-night stay in LA that only costed him $75. I don't know where else you could get that. I think I even bought the alcohol and the cigars while we were there. As always, he was only responsible to pay for his own food, and I even think that some of that was covered for him. He displayed a ton of weird behavior during the trip. But again, that's not the point of this, so I'm not going to dive into it unless I have to later. Anyway, during this trip, he kept saying how he was home, the trip being LA. I remember saying, didn't you only come out here for like a couple months? He said, yeah, but this place is home. It reminds me of my ex, and I really wanted to come back here. Mind you, the ex that he's talking about is a woman he never dated, which is Romania, right? A trans woman, so to speak. Well, not so to speak. She is trans woman, but, you know, a woman all the same, right? After the trip, we were hanging out, and I found out that after Rem had kicked him out, he was on the, like, I didn't know this until after the fact. So I know I said that, but I'm just like, I want to be very clear. I didn't know this until we got back. But when Rem kicked him out, he was on the verge of, and this is a trigger warning. I'm sorry. If self-harm is something that is a trigger for you, please mute the stream for a little bit, step out. I don't know what you got to do, but if it's a trigger warning for you, you got to be aware that that's something we're going to have to talk about. He was on the verge of suicide. He had nearly ended his life while he was in LA, and him being back there was a moment of triumph for him. I totally understood what that meant for him, and it really felt like he was growing so much as a person over the time I had known him. And he went from having like no social group, a low point in his life, living with his parents, nearly banned from the game that he was so invested in, to now living on his own and starting a life for himself and reclaiming himself and reestablishing himself as someone of value. He still had some, you know, like genuinely odd behaviors, but in some weird way, I even felt proud of the weird motherfucker. I thought, hey man, this guy's going to be all right. One day, he had one of his usual anxiety-induced crash outs in one of our Discord channels over something and expressed something along the lines of, quote unquote, being forced out into this desert shithole. And it was really out of the blue for us. We were like, what the fuck? I asked him where he'd rather live, and he said he wanted to move back out to LA. In my mind, I was thinking, like, you can barely afford to live in Arizona. How do you plan to afford to live in LA, one of the most expensive cities you can live in the world? I told him he should use the time here to not just find a job, but a career, earn some skills that he can take with him. And then when he has a solid foundation underneath him, he can move out to LA with those skills. This way, he wouldn't screw Hildyne into carrying the burden of paying for an apartment that was made for two. Now, I'm going to show the screenshots of them kind of talking about their apartment, because mind you, the reason that he was bound here had nothing to do with the Hunters. He fucking signed a lease with another person to rent a fucking place. Give me a second here. Let me pull up the screenshots, though. All right. I want to preface this as well. It's in the title, Misfit. NiceToesBros. I want to preface this as well, that before Hildyne and Toes moved in together, Hildyne actually had Toes blocked. The reason that he unblocked Toes, and mind you, he blocked him because Toes was farming Hildyne for quote unquote content. That content being him being upset over him being basically a shitbag to his friend, right? This is their conversation. They had picked out a place together. They picked out the rent together. They picked out the numbers together. And here you have, where is it? This is when they had upgraded their internet at Toes' request. Toes wanted to stream, so Hildyne upgraded the internet for him, right? They even bought a cable and ran it across their house so he could hardwire in instead of Wi-Fiing in. Like, and Hill covered the cost of that. Hill was not well off. Hill was living very thin. And the reason he was living very thin is because he was paying for the two of them, but I'll get into that more in a little bit. So if he couldn't afford to live out here, I was just trying to help him find a way to get to where he wanted to go. If he wanted to go to LA, I wanted him to be out wherever he wanted to be because, you know, that's how adults work. You're going to live where you want to live. Like, so do that, but like have a plan. I told him he should earn some skills that he could take with him. And then when he has a solid foundation underneath himself, he can move out to LA with those skills. This way, he wouldn't screw Hildyne into carrying the burden of paying for an apartment that was made for two. He seemed to like the idea, and then he crashed out again. And he said he wanted to move home to Ohio. I told him that's not a problem, but he has a lease with the apartment that he and Hildyne are living in that expires in December. If he wants to move home, we want to help him get there, but not to screw Hildyne over in the process. Within that month, he basically crashed out so hard that he wanted to move back immediately. He was under the pretense that moving back home to Ohio meant he had to leave the guild, which we, myself and other members of the guild, repeatedly told him that was not the case. At this time, he had started hanging out with some of his old social circles that led him into the shitty, depressed state that he was originally in. That's fine. You can hang out with whoever you want to, of course. Right? Shortly after that, though, he started making a lot of passive-aggressive, bitch-made fucking comments to insult either myself or other members of the guild indirectly. This led to a confrontation where he was making passive-aggressive comments towards me, going as far as to call me transphobic. I straight up asked him if he wanted to be in the guild, and he said no, so I dismissed him. That was the end of it. When somebody came into my stream after that and asked me, hey, why is Toes no longer in your guild? I said he wanted to quit. He wanted to leave. And that was the end of it. I think the question was like, hey, Toes is no longer in the Hunters? And like, yeah, he's no longer in the guild. And that was the end of the statement. It was a very quick one-sentence comment because he had asked me to protect, or he had said that he didn't want any drama. He didn't want to create any problems from it. And he wanted privacy. But you guys will see soon that that was absolutely a lie. Now we're left with a really sticky situation where he was behind on payments to Hildyne, and on a stream publicly lying about the guild in this situation. He was talking about, shit about us on the internet while he was behind on those payments, using electricity, internet, and lodging that was paid by a collective effort of members of the guild, mostly Hildyne. He goes on to make claims about his physical safety being threatened, when I have a well-documented history of helping people, and not one time have I ever gone out of my way to harass, harm, or otherwise negatively influence members of the guild, or former members of the guild. I don't care what they do when they're gone. They make their choices. It's not my problem. I'm not responsible for them, and as long as it doesn't impact me or my community, why should I give a shit? Hunters, as a whole, feel like when somebody makes a choice to turn their backs on all of us for selfish reasons, that we don't really want to associate with a person like that. This isn't someone who's capable of turning their back on you. This is someone who's demonstrated that behavior. So now we will start showing up a little more of the evidence, right? First, we're going to go through his clips. These video files were collected courtesy of Lunar. So I will just pull them up on screen and we'll kind of go through them one by one. As you can see, I have appropriately labeled this folder. Let me go ahead and there's a reason I call them that, by the way. You guys will see that soon. Let me get these out of the way. These old screenshots that we've already looked at. Okay, these are courtesy of our boy Lunar. All right, I'm going to make sure that you guys can actually hear the videos when I play them, so give me 1 second. Perfect. Okay. Before we get into this, I'm going to show you guys the screenshots between himself and Lunar, so you guys can understand the conversation that they had, and then I will show you my conversation with him as he exited the guild. So, let's see here. Here's Lunar's conversation with him. I'll give you guys a second to read. Lunar is asking him some basic preliminary questions. You guys want to read this out loud? Or you guys You can read it for yourselves. I'm fine with doing another one. He did. He absolutely manipulated you, Demise. He manipulated you and other people that were involved in it. Okay, I'll read it to you, no problem. Lunar says to him, we can talk whenever you're free. I'll try and keep it short. It's not for any content or any video. I just don't like hearing stuff from second and third hand sources because you know that can get misrepresented. If you guys don't know anything about Lunar Lay, let me tell you one thing about Lunar Lay. This man fucking despises liars. If you lie, if you are publicly lying and you're doing it for some kind of personal advantage or personal gain, bro, Lunar Lay will come for your ass. Like, that's just how it is. He fucking thrives on this shit. He loves outing liars. It's like a personal fetish. I love it. When you hear it, it sounds way better than the voice in my head. Fair. Well, let me get into character for you. Yeah, I can clarify if you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can clarify if you want. I just don't want to get dragged into a long, drawn-out drama. This is him saying he doesn't want drama. My focus is moving on from the Hunters and rebuilding my life. Mind you, this was after he went on stream and started talking about the Hunters publicly. Sounds good. And yeah, it won't be drawn out. Actually, you know what? I think I should play the clips and then come back to this because that would make more sense, I think, timeline-wise. All right. Let me do that. So this is where Toes says it's a cult. He doesn't want to bother with them.
Like I said, they ride the line very well. But I don't want to, like... I don't like drama. I don't want to, like... I don't want to hinder them. I don't want help from them. I just want to cut ties from them entirely.
You can literally see someone in his chat saying, yeah, it's definitely a cult. That's the exact definition of a cult. And this person is let me address this guy real quick so you guys have some context. This guy is someone that has been in the PvP scene for a very long fucking time. He's a weird ass fucking Musa that has followed me around like a lost animal. And he gets off on griefer-like behavior in his mind to role play that he does not have, that he's not a fucking weirdo. He likes to create this headcanon that I'm some kind of evil villain. Bro, I'm sorry. But like, I've called this guy no name on stream many times because his name is ridiculous. But it is what it is. You know, like this guy is a disingenuous chatter. He already doesn't like the Hunters. He sees some guy talking negatively about us and he's going to hang out in his stream and then fucking try and feed into this narrative and try and make it sound like worse than it is. Okay. So you can clearly see him feeding into it. Now, this is where Toes himself admits, you don't have to take my word for it. You can take his word for it. He admits that he accepts the offer to willingly move himself. Let me do this. Mind you, again, the only reason I had to move out here was because he needed the help.
They had you move. It wasn't a requirement, right? They didn't say, you're going to move here. It was something I volunteered for. Because, like I said, I was down on my luck. I didn't have very much to do IRL. You know, I had just come off of, like, a really, really bad experience. And so so Zeroden came to me with the offer. He was like, yeah, you know, I won't let you fail. You can move out here. I'd even let you live with me. And I accepted.
That to me is insane because it's not genuine to the truth. He was living at home. And as you can hear him say, I had a steady job. I had this and that going on at home. He just didn't like being at home. He had told us, excuse me, I'm still getting over sickness. He had told us that he was miserable at home. You saw the screenshots earlier where he's basically saying that he's abused at home and he wants to get out of the situation. And I think he had said to Chrysidra that he was on the verge of getting kicked out anyway. I don't know that to be true or not. I just know that that's the hearsay. All right. Either way, he was not living in the lap of luxury where he was, and he did not feel safe. He wanted to move out here on his own, and he willingly moved himself out here. No one coerced him. No one forced him. All I did was offer it out from his situation where he felt like he was trapped in his home. Okay. So now let's go on to this next one, the next clip.
They had you move. It wasn't a requirement, right? They didn't say, you're going to move here. It was something I volunteered for. Because, like I said, I was down on my luck. I didn't have very much to do IRL. You know, I had just come off of, like, a really, really bad experience. And so so Zeroden came to me with the offer. He was like, yeah, you know, I won't let you fail. You can move out here.
Where
I'd
were
even
these
let you
people
live with me. And I accepted.
when you were down on your luck? Where were they? You said that you were down on your luck and that you were in a bad situation, but that was all before you were even a hunter. Where were they for you? You applied to join the Hunters. Why did you do that? At the time, you had told us you needed something different in your life to make your life better because what you were doing wasn't working, and we genuinely tried to help you.
Now, I'm very, very fortunate. I have a community. I have a... Oh, okay. Yeah, like, I have a community. I have friends, my sailors, my alliance guilds. I have a whole bunch of people that I could turn to for support. But, like, imagine if you were someone who the Hunters were all you had. And if you left the Hunters, you would be totally alone.
Why would that be the case? Why would the Hunters be all you have? We don't advertise. We don't invite people. We don't seek people out. Bro, if the Hunters are all you have, maybe it's because either that's what you want, because for me, I would love that. I love that the Hunters they're there for me. It's not all I have in life, but I'm so happy that I have them, right? Or it's something that you did. You are the result of your actions. So here's where he says that we look for vulnerable people. There's a lot of Hunters in my chat, guys. How many of you did I approach and tell you to join the guild outside of maybe Cass? And Cass definitely was not a vulnerable person. She was a very strong, independent woman. Not fucking once. Shut up, Grizzly. We met at a Christmas party, motherfucker. Not fucking one, man. I don't recruit. So here we are. You don't have to hear from me, hear from him.
But they have a cover, right? Because they don't, like, actively reach out to try and recruit people. They count on you coming to them.
So what you're saying is, we didn't reach out to you. You came to us, but we're targeting vulnerable people. How the fuck does that make sense, man? That's not what targeting is. That's like saying a fucking women's shelter targets abused women. No, they just offer a safe space. The Hunters is known as a pretty fucking good community. The people that are in the Hunters stay in the Hunters, not because they're coerced, because they fucking love it here. It's a really close-knit friend group. That's appealing to a lot of fucking people for a lot of reasons. That's not targeting, you dumb fuck. God damn, bro. Who taught you your fucking trade? Who told you you could work with men? Jesus Christ. Cass is trash garble. Shut up, Heavens Will. All right. On to the next. Hold up. So, here's his next clip.
It's like I said. I'm just glad it's over, man. Well, almost over. I still gotta get out of here.
You still gotta get out of here. And we can't wait for you to leave. But before you leave, we want to make sure you're not going to absolutely legally fuck and screw over Hildyne. Because you have the ability to do so by just being not responsible whatsoever. Read your last? Okay, give me 1 second. Thinking about this now, that might have been a jab at me because he knows I don't have much outside of y'all. Maybe, maybe Hill. What a fucking shitty human being thing to do, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I hope that's not the case. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I hope that's not the case. He doesn't still live with us, but he lives with he never lived with me, but he lives in my town with one of my members who they have a 2-bedroom apartment they share. All right. Anyway, but we've talked about this already. You can go back and watch that part in the VOD. All right. Here's the thing. He says he's glad he left and the drama's over, but he's the one who's bringing it up. Now, again, I'm going to show you guys my conversation with him. This is video number 5. I'm going to show you guys my conversation with him when he left. Okay. This is my talk with him when he had quit the guild. I had to remove him from the channel because he was fucking crashing out. And I didn't kick him from the guild. I just muted him from the channel. He still had access to the main guild channel, but he just didn't have access to the side channels. Because again, he was crashing out. I said, in case you didn't see it, absolutely not, but I have to take some precautionary measures. I'm going to squelch you for now, and I'll talk to Hill. This is, again, in my eyes, and as far as administrative goes, he's still a member of the guild at this point in time. I'm going to talk to Hill about getting you home to your parents. We'll find a way ahead. It's a nuclear last option, because in my mind, I'm trying to balance his needs versus Hill's needs. I can't screw Hill over. And I won't, no matter what. But but I wanted to balance his needs versus Hill's needs and try and find out what he needed, right? I was like, it's a nuclear last option that puts a lot of stress on him, me, and my family, but you'll get what you want. My intent at the time was to have them break the lease and Hill would stay with me rent-free with me and my family until he was able to be self-sufficient again. But it's complicated, and I'll get into that later. I said, I have to, for the benefit of the unit, ignore the Circuit tab. I just don't have a role for it now because I had to give him a role that I didn't have a role for. I just needed to limit his channels. All right. I said I'd turn off the lights for the time being, turning off the lights being I had to de-access him from a lot of the Discord channels. I said, I'll make another role for it later. And then he says, very well, it's your guild, one that I am not entitled to a position in. I don't like to burn bridges over impulse, but I will respect your boundaries. I'm like, see, even this doesn't really inspire confidence. It's your guild. No, man, it's our guild. That's the whole point. And then his statement, and this is very telling of him, yes, but you have the authority. I said, it concerns me because I think you want to be here, and I think you're just pushing against people who are supporting you for reasons maybe not even completely in your control. Yes, there's a phrase for this, and maybe you have it. I'm not a psychologist. I misspelled psychologist, but it's worth looking into. You are the type of person who comes to resent the people that support you. You find any issue, no matter how small, to make it justified. And it sucks, man. You know, I am the type of person who genuinely gets joy from helping others, and I wanted to help. The resentment of your parents has now shifted to me. Then the complication becomes this. It's not a matter of if you like me. It's a matter of can we coexist despite the situation, and I'm not hearing a yes. I'm hearing, I will bite my tongue until I don't need you, and then you're going to tell me to fuck off, and that's not friendship on any level. That is you using me. And I showed him, here's an AI response on what AVD is, avoidant personality disorder. Like, this is a good jumping on point if you think you might have it. He says, I think in some way you're right. The proximity just isn't right for our dynamic. I don't hate you, but if I stay a hunter, I will one day. Here's the AI summary so you guys can see it more clearly. AVP or AVPD is hating people who support you can be a system of an underlying mental health condition, most notably avoidant personality disorder. The fear of intimacy and rejection, borderline personality disorder, fear of abandonment or intimacy, and antisocial personality disorder, disregard for others. I think what he has, to some degree, is a fear of abandonment, so he strikes the first blow. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just giving my opinion on this one, right? And it's characterized by disregard for others and manipulative behavior, which can include disdain for those who try to provide support. I firmly believe he has this bottom one, this ASPD. I firmly believe he has the antisocial personality disorder. Anytime he sees somebody as a position of authority, he tends to lash out against them, right? You can't help somebody who is like this because any help that you provide them will be seen as a negative. It will be seen as a detriment. So it's a really shitty situation to have to be put in. And I hope that no one ever has to go through that with somebody they care about. But going on my removal conversation, I said, I don't know if you have a fear and abandonment. I can imagine you might, but only you would know that. You'd have to be honest enough with yourself to know that. He says, and you value utter closeness with your guildies, and everything about me is contrary to that. I'm like, go down to the reason for this feeling. Do any of those resonate with you? He says, I mean, the reason I don't like to being dependent is because I'm putting my fate into someone else's hands. So I guess number one works. I'm like, if you have AVD, this is a crash out, man. This is not normal behavior. And I don't think you're doing it on purpose. I think you have a feeling, and that feeling is driving your actions, which for him is normal. He is very emotionally driven, right? I said, but the source isn't right. Do you think like we're going to abandon you at some point? Examine yourself down to your core. Is the closeness of the guild something that scares you because you've been left behind a lot? And that fear and the fear is that it's happening again. He says, it's not that. I know that as long as I don't fuck up, I'll be fine in the hunters. But I do fuck up, and I just haven't been able to really feel close to anyone except maybe Adna, Aki, and Zeroden. I'm like, everyone fucks up. But you have to fuck up, want to do it intentionally, and refuse to be corrected. Then it becomes a problem. I don't think that is still not a fear that you have. You know the control measure, but the fact is that it can happen. And because there is closeness, that there could be some abandonment, and that scares you. Am I wrong? He goes, no, that's correct. I'm like, okay, so we're making some progress, like good progress. Do you think you may have AVD? He says, almost certainly. I typically leave before I crash out on people, so I don't crash out on them. The issue with the hunters is there's no room to leave, so I do. I said, is that not perhaps a control mechanism to work through this? Instead of being a slave to this disorder, perhaps it can be worked through now that we kind of know what we're dealing with and we can find ways to coexist. He's like, we can, but the issue in the interim is you'd have to kick me. And I know you don't like to put that kind of effort into people unless they're hunters. I'm like, what? This is the why do you want to be, or do you want to be a hunter question? This is why it's important. If at your core you want to be here, I will always find a way to make it work. I don't, and I said, I don't have to kick you. I just have to put space between us, and I can do that without an issue. It won't damage our relation. You know, when I say damage us, I mean our relationship, damage us in the long term. He says, I want to be around you guys, but I don't want to as a hunter. I just can't have that closeness you seek between your guildies for now. I wouldn't be embracing that ideal, and I'd be enduring it at best, so I don't lash out on anyone. I'm like, if you want to leave, you can. It is breaking of an oath that you swore to us. Come hell or high water, no matter what, that we stay together. You have a choice now to stand behind that yourself or to break it. I'm like, to be absolutely clear, are you saying you do not want to be a hunter? And this is his own words. It's a betrayal, but it's a sword I'd be willing to fall on for the good of the unit, making himself out like he's a fucking martyr, like he's doing us a favor by him quitting, which is not the reality. But, you know, now that it's over, I'm so fucking grateful. All right. I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to remove you from the hunters. I'll talk to Hill when he gets home and we'll figure out the logistics. They'll be quiet for a while, but whether that evolves into bad blood or not is totally up to you. Definitely doesn't have to be. Now, when I say they'll be quiet for a while, what I mean, just to be very clear, is when somebody leaves the hunters, we have to examine their actions if they're going to be malicious when they leave, if they're going to tell a fucking story that's not reflective of the truth, which is exactly what happened here. So all we do is we just hang out. We just pull back and watch. And he, you know, immediately showed his true colors. I said, he goes, no, it doesn't have to be, and I don't want it to be. I still like you guys, and I'm just not cut out for what you're building. I said, realistically, it just matters how you tell your story. If you make us out to be villains in a narrative, of course there will be bad blood. If you realize that your AVD is causing issues within the guild, and it's hard to build relationships like that, and that's your story, then there's likely never going to be a problem. You ultimately choose how you portray it. On a side note, seriously, get a therapist about the AVD thing. You can figure that out. It can be worked through. So I'm not being malicious. I'm not being nasty. I'm just like, okay, man, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to go. He said, would it be okay if I say it's a mutual understanding type of thing? Like there's no bad blood or anything, just that the guild ultimately wasn't right for me. I'm like, of course. I'm like, I bounced you from the guild and game. It's likely going to disconnect you if you're fishing. He goes, all good. Thank you. On the bright side, our amicable parting will do wonders to squash people's cult narratives. Remember that when he went on stream, he immediately was feeding into something that we all know, every fucking member of the unit knows is just bullshit. We know where the fucking rumor came from. It came from a white supremacist guild on fucking Black Desert Line to make us look like we're something we're not, right? Here he is. Oh, it's going to do wonders. It's going to be great PR for you guys, huh? Like, dude, fuck you, man. I don't need your fucking PR. I'm like, naturally, I ask that you keep everything you learned about hunters personally confidential. Like we're talking about interpersonal relationships. Don't share it with anyone, and obviously we'll do the same. He says, I said, none of that shit holds any water anyway. We've never gone after people who quit unless they did so first, right? And look at this cringe shit. Of course, we're still allies after all. Smiley face, like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, I was cringing internally, but I left it alone. I said, I'll talk to Hill and find out how we're going to get you back home. Like, I'm not pleased about any of the situation because ultimately what he was asking for was a tremendous debt to be placed on Hildyne. I said, I've already sent him a message. So I'll talk to my father as well to pound out the details. Guess I better put my 2 weeks notice at work. I said, I would wait until I talk to Hill so you have the logistics put together. He goes, yeah, true. I'm like, Hill knows you're moving out. We have alternatives prepared, but if you can give him some money to help him out for the month that you were there this month, that'll be good. And I said, you don't have to pay me. I said, you don't have to worry about the $150 I lent you. Use that to help you get yourself back home. Give Hill some money and use the rest of your paycheck to get yourself back to Ohio. Now, there's some legal complications, but we'll get into that in a bit. Okay. So you can clearly see, was I malicious in this removal? Am I going after him? Did I initiate this? No. I just asked him, do you want to be in the guild? No? Okay. You don't have to be in the guild. Bye. Okay, we'll get you, you know, you're stuck out here, whatever. We'll get you back home. I'm being very reasonable with the guy. I'm trying to fucking help him out, even though he's not a member of my guild at this point, because he's still a human being and he still deserves the help when he needs it. He still should go home and live safe and comfortably. Like, I think that's just normal shit. All right, let's go back to his clips. Right? Keeping all that in mind. Remember, this is what his video said. Oh, that wasn't the right one. I think it was this one. Sure. And here's his next clip.
Like, I'm not saying I didn't have good times with them too. Like, it wasn't all bad. It was the community I needed at the time.
So we were what you needed when you needed it. And when you didn't need it, you dropped us. What does that say about you? Are we the bad guys here? I don't think so. I think you're clearly a manipulative user. I think you're the type of person who will use somebody to get ahead.
It's just that, like I said, the only caveat is you literally have to pledge lifelong loyalty to the Kinsworn Hunters.
No, man. You're looking at this in the most internet retarded way you could possibly look at it. You just have to be a good friend to the member to the guild, man. You just have to be a friend to the fucking people in the guild. Is the name changing in color red mandatory? Yeah, Caster, it is. And we openly talk about that. We absolutely openly talk about that. We make it very clear. We don't want to surprise anyone with rules. If the rules do not benefit you, do not join the guild. We tell people that all the time. Like, if you don't like the structure, please don't join it. There's a million other guilds out there that will happily take you in. But if you want to be a member of the Kinsworn Hunters, surprise, you got to look and act like a hunter. All right. Anyway, I've already gotten into that towards the beginning of this video. You can, it's actually still don't join, Chris. No, that's the notice. Look, I'll do it right now. Here, guys, you want to see our guild advertisement? I'm going to show you right now. Let me show you right now my guild advertisement in game, right? Where's the fucking channel spam thing? Where is it? Where is it? Recruitment notice? No, that's not it. Where's the channel spam one? Well, I've never used this fucking thing. I haven't used it in years. Where the fuck is it? I don't remember how to do it. To the right by leave? This? Yeah. There it is. There it is. It's been like that for years. Here, I'll fucking spam that shit right now if you're on Caltheon too. There. Don't join. We don't advertise, dude. We don't advertise, motherfucker. Very clear about this. Been that way for years, man. It's not about to change. No, hold on. Wait, somebody else is Tengiri. Recruiting people who don't have the game installed who suffer from at least 98% blindness. So who the fuck is the boy? Bro, W's the boy, bro. W's the boy. The Guild Tengiri. That's their recruitment notice, dude. That's so funny. Oh, God, dude. That shit's so funny. All right. Back to it. Back to the jump. Sorry. They don't have it installed, so they can't see his recruitment. All right. So again, he says it's not all bad. So the times that we went on vacations together that costed him nothing, the times that we took him out to eat on our dime, the times that we took him out to drink and fucking party, the times that we threw parties to welcome him to the community when he moved down here, the times that we did all the things for him wasn't all bad, bro. Wasn't all bad. Laruvix just messaged me a game. He goes, I saw your guild advertisement and I'm just trying to join. I'm like, hey, you can't fucking read, motherfucker. Annoyed Cherry. I think you know, bro. I think you know. I think you know. It makes you funny. All right. Moving on. Let's address his next claim. Guys, if you missed the beginning part of this, you just have to watch in the VOD. I'm not going to go back over it. Because it's too much to go back over. I'll make it into a video at some point. Mind you, remember, he said earlier in the video, earlier in his own words, earlier in the text, he doesn't want any drama. He just wants to move on. Now he's doing an Ask Me Anything section. Is that reflective of somebody who doesn't want any drama and just wants to move on? When I was asked, why is Toes no longer in your guild? All I said was, yeah, he's no longer in the Hunters. That's reflective of somebody who's respecting somebody else's wishes that says they don't want drama and want to move on. Did he respect it himself? Not at all. Let's look again.
Like, you guys can ask me anything about the Kinsworn Hunters, like about like their guild policies, their rules and stuff. My line though is like I won't give out like any kind of like personal information. I won't gossip about people's lives or anything. But I was in the guild for a year and a half, and I was in Zeroden's inner circle. No, well, not his inner circle, but like his. I was in his syndicate for like 4 years.
This is two mischaracterizations. He says inner circle, and then he says syndicate. Guys, I don't have any reason to hide any information. Syndicate is just my friend group that's not in the Hunters. So if you are in my Discord right now and you have a syndicate tag, it just means you have access to channels that only members that are also have that tag can access. That's the Hunter Syndicate. I'll give you a good example. Shimiko is in the Hunter Syndicate. Fucking his best buddy, Salty, was in the Hunter Syndicate for a little while. He was in the Hunter Syndicate for a little while. He had been in that syndicate for years. Raminia was a member of that syndicate. It's just a close friend group. That's all there is to it. It's just people that we trust with information that is personal, that isn't like guild personal. It's like I can talk about myself and my kids in the syndicate channel, and I wouldn't talk about that in the public channel, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So when you say it like this, it makes it sound like it's something nefarious. It really isn't. It's just a friend channel. Even Gato Hando, another streamer, recently just got in there. Like, you know, it's not really that crazy. You can publicly see in my Discord who's in the syndicate by looking at the fucking roles. It's not that complex. As far as my quote unquote inner circle, there is a actual policy in the Hunters that is the anti-click policy. We have a very well-known anti-click policy. I don't have a quote-unquote inner circle because the entire guild is my inner circle. That's the whole point. That's the entire point of being a hunter. So it'd be so very disingenuous to invite somebody in and not make them feel like they're a fucking part of the team. The whole point is that even the newest member can message me and Auburn. I'll give you a great example. Auburn, you in my chat? You might not be. Okay, Auburn. When we met, were you a hunter? When we met in real life, face to face, were you a hunter? Tomorrow, when I invited you over to come fucking hang out and party with us, are you a hunter? Exactly. That's all there is to it. The whole guild is the clique. The whole guild is my inner circle. I treat everyone like a fucking member. And AuberX is a brand new member. He just joined this fucking month. That's the kind of, like, there's a fundamental misunderstanding about, like, the way that the old guilds in the olden days used to operate versus now. Guilds are like fucking communities, man. And adult relationships take work. You have to want to work at having the adult relationship. Otherwise, you just don't fucking have it. You don't have the relationship. I never invited you to party. Last, I don't want you there. That's obviously why. Don't you live in like fucking Antarctica or some shit? Excuse me, cough. Made myself laugh. Okay. No, I mean, for real, like, I don't have an inner circle because the whole guild's my inner circle. And we actually have a policy in the guild where you can't form cliques. If you start hanging out with specific hunters and treating specific hunters better than other specific hunters, you get talked to by the leadership because that is antithesis to the guild. It's a really, really shitty thing to do. It's not nice to do amongst your friend groups, and it causes a rifts and division within a guild. It's why our guild has lasted for almost 30 years now, and some guilds can't make it past a fucking month. All right, we don't do cliques. Also, Cass, it bothers me a little bit, but you're spelling click wrong. It's CLIQUE. The clicks you're spelling are the ones on a mouse, not the kind of not the group, not the group of a click. Exactly, it's more like an inner triangle. But the whole guild, like, and I think somebody had said it earlier. I think all guilds are cliques. Yes, but the problem is when you have a guild with a clique within the guild, it starts to create problems within the guild. All right, it's my ADHD pinging. All right, back to it. Okay, so he says he's in the inner circle. Now, here is him saying, remember, he was feeding into the narrative that, oh, we'll ride the line really well.
Zeroden offering support to anyone who would want to come out and live in his city. I'm trying so hard not to say the name of the city, dude. And like, it's so far, there's no like culty or crazy thing that goes on, right? It's just a whole bunch of friends hanging out.
You heard it yourself. Nothing culty happens. It's a whole bunch of friends hanging out, and that is the fucking truth. That is the meat of the guild. The guild is a whole bunch of friends hanging out. We go do real we like to do shit together. Just a couple of weekends ago, we went all to Cass and Maz's wedding. We went out to eat to a bunch of fucking places. We partied, we drank. It was good. Anyway, and there's not like I get nothing from that. There's no gain for me, just friendship. Okay, so here's Toast saying that moving out caused them financial trouble.
Be damned if I give up my job. Dude, yeah, fucking... I didn't have a great job in Ohio, but Zeroden was like...
Mind you, the entire time, this fucking loser, this disingenuous little fuck, is winding him up the whole fucking time. Look at this guy fucking blowing him. Sachikoro, you fucking fat cunt. Where did you learn your fucking trade, bro? Where'd you learn your fucking trade, you disingenuous little shit? God damn, winding this fucking guy up. You knew what you were fucking doing. You knew what you were fucking doing. You were taking advantage of this fucking idiot. He's a retard, and you're taking advantage of him. Either that or you're both retarded and you're just fucking pinging off each other. I don't know which one it is. Anyway, I disregard. Or not disregard, I digress. Him moving out caused him financial trouble. Let me replay the clip, sorry.
But Zeroden was like, yeah, I just quit. Everyone's hiring out here. Everyone is not hiring out here. And that's...
Yes. That did happen. I said everyone is hiring out here. I didn't say just quit. I told him to find a job before he came out here. But like either way, he said it himself. I didn't have a great job. And he complained to us in voice chat very regularly how miserable he was in that situation. Yes, he himself said that he did not have a great job and he was miserable at that work. He constantly talked about how he was overworked, how his body wasn't handling it well, how he was at a caloric deficit, how he was physically worn the fuck out, how miserable he was working there. He told us this shit almost every fucking night, man, along with how miserable he was where he lived. So, like, we're his friends. What the fuck are we supposed to do? Say, go fuck yourself? Like, and hearing all these problems, be like, hey, bro, we can offer you a better way out here. We can offer you a better life. Like, that to me seems like just good friend behavior. If I see somebody suffering, I can't just let them fucking suffer. I'm not that person. I'm not capable of it. Either way.
Part of the reason why I had so much financial trouble.
He said everyone is not hiring out here, but the issue isn't that they weren't hiring. The issue is that he's very picky, as we discussed earlier. He didn't want jobs that had him working in customer service. He didn't want jobs that had him working. Walmart and Target were beneath him, he said. Food service was beneath him. And again, if you work in food service, Walmart or Target, I'm sorry. I don't think that's the case. I think those industries are I think we need people in those jobs. And if you work those jobs, I'm thankful that you do. I don't give a fuck if all you do is fucking, pull fries out of the fryer at McDonald's. I like my fries crispy. Please do a good job. Don't spit in my food. I need people like that. Like, we need those guys to exist. I don't think anyone, if you are out there and you're like, I can't find work, and you're not willing to find work, you're not willing to cut your hair, and you're not willing to work with people face to face, and you're not willing to work in customer service, fucking, like, you have to be able to do these things because we need people in those positions. Like, not just that, but you limit your job offers, your job opportunities severely. Not being able to work with people in a professional manner limits your ability to get any white collar job. You can't work in fucking IT because you cannot work with customers, bro. I work as a software engineer, but I look back on my time as a dishwasher and restaurant finally. My first job that I got when I came back to the United States was fucking Taco Bell. I worked there for like a year. At one point, I was working fucking 4 jobs at the same time. I worked at Taco Bell, I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Applebee's, and I worked at Cutco. I was working all those fucking jobs simultaneously. I was sleeping fucking 2 hours a night and popping no-dos before I go to bed because energy drinks didn't exist. I pop no-dos, go to bed, wake up, and go to fucking work. And Vector Marketing, which was the Cutco knives, that shit was self-employment, and I was working for fucking nothing. And remember, I told you in the very beginning, I struggled a lot. I got to the point where I am now. I'm as successful as I am now because I fucking went through the hardest times, and that's why I help people out. Either way, it's not that places aren't hiring out here. It's that this motherfucker is just too goddamn picky to work at any other place. He needed the place to be a night shift where he does not interact with human beings. That's what he wanted, which severely limited the amount of jobs that are available to you. It narrows it down a lot. Now, in the next video, he'll tell you why he's poor because of the Kinsworn Hunters.
It's okay, Boy Scout. Thank you, by the way. Shout out to Slightly Rain, who remember this whole moving trip completely wrecked my finances. When I left the Kinsworn Hunters, I could not afford a name change. That's how broke I was. And Slightly Rain straight up bought me a name change.
Wow, he bought you a name change? Dude, Slightly Rain, you're such a fucking hero. Slightly Rain, did you pay for his fucking car insurance? Because I fucking did. He was driving around illegally. Did you buy him groceries? Did you buy him recreation? Because I fucking sure did. Let's show you. Let's show you. Nope, that's not the right screenshot. Here you go. Buying shirts for the Oasis, because we all have matching shirts. Grizzrek bought his shirt. Hey, man, shirts are going to be $35 a piece. Grizzrek, the fucking absolute Chad that he is. Best I can do is 40. You're negotiating the wrong way, Grizzrek, but I respect it. I said, best we can do is find a way to cover a hill so you can wear it with us. And then Toes goes, can I just reuse my TwitchCon one? I said, you can if you really want to. I like the updated text, though. It's saying Oasis on the back top instead of the Twitch logo is dope, especially at the Oasis itself. And then Grizzrek says, I'll chip in where needed. Let me know. I'm like, I think Hill is where it's needed. Can you front him $35? He says, best I can do is 40. Grizzrek paid for both their t-shirts. He bought both of their shirts. Just because. He goes, oh, I don't know why I sent you the money. I'm like, you sent it to me? He goes, yeah, you slut. I said, I can give it to Hill, I guess. That'll work, right? I'll just buy his. He's like, yeah, use the rest to buy yourself something nice. I said, how about I use the rest to buy NiceToesBros shirt? That was Grizzrek's generosity to NiceToesBros. Just give him a shirt because he wanted to have him match the rest. Here's Chrysidra's generosity. Z said he has no problem with you coming by tomorrow. Just come by whenever you want. Just note that if it's before noon, I won't be awake. He says, pog, because he's a fucking Zoomer. It'll probably be around 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. I do DGen hours. Chris says, works for me. Do you like Taco Bell? He goes, absolutely. I want to see if we can pick up some from tomorrow so you can come by. He goes, thank you. I need junk food in my diet, and it consists almost entirely of chicken and rice and veggies. Chris bought him food. That's one of many times we bought him food. I bought him tacos, I've taken him out to like the local taco shops, I've taken him out to pizza places, I've taken him out to fucking movies, I've taken him out all over the goddamn place. Here's Hildyne. Hildyne, who's living with him, fucking broke as fuck because the guy wasn't paying shit for a very long time, scraping by, right? Did not have the money, could not afford to. Are you free today? Z is asking if you want to watch a movie. What time? In about 2 hours. Sure. I'm leaving for Z's at 6, by the way. All right. I take it we should eat before. He says, I'm probably going to bum some food off Z, which I am fine with. I do not have a problem with helping my friends out when they need fucking help. If they need food, not a problem. I can afford food, man. It's not a big deal. Again, showing proof that he is willing to accept food and money. Because this is important later when he says he didn't. Hildyne, you hungry? Yeah, I got 1 meal left for today. All right, I'm about to make hamburgers. We don't really have anything to go with it, though. Or we could just do those tomorrow, and you could do hamburger helper tonight. It's up to you. He says, we'll do the hamburger helper, and then I'll pick up chips at the gas station tomorrow. All right, sounds good. Again, Hill, not really able to afford to cover somebody else, affording to cover him. It gets better. This is text between myself and Adnarum, another member of my guild. Hey, Naku's broke as hell, so I figured it'd be nice if we ordered some pizzas. I'm just going to get cheese unless you guys have a specific request. She says, I'm down. Does Naku have a favorite type of pizza? I totally pitch in to get him one if we could take it home. I said, you could throw in 20 if you want. I'm going to order 5 pizzas and one of them so he could take home with him. Bet. Dude, 5 pizzas is like 60 fucking bucks here. It's like 60 to 70 bucks. All right? I'm not trying, like, it's okay. You know, I'm trying to help out a fucking homie. I want him to eat while he's at my house and have food to take with him. And Adna threw in a 20. Here's them talking to Naku, or at the time, NiceToesBros. This is NiceToesBros. Fucking got caffeine and gas, headed down to me. This is me and them. Got caffeine and gas, headed down your way. Meet us downtown. Bring Vizrend. Oh, you meet downtown? I'm like, yeah, we need 2 cars anyways. This is me and Adna talking. The boys are light on cash because Naku hasn't started working yet. I got the kiddos with me. If we eat, we got to cover them. He did get a job though, so silver lining. She goes, yeah, I already told Hill I got him if money is a concern for eating out. I took them out fucking bar hopping all night that night. We spent probably like $300 to $400 on them, and then fucking Hildyne threw up on me on the way back. All that time we give him grief because of that. That was the fucking night. This motherfucker threw up on me on the way back. Piece of fuck. Yeah, so fucking threw up in my car, threw up in my steering wheel. Anyway, as you can see, we paid for him that night. We did talk about it. All right. This is Adna talking directly to Naku, or at the NiceToesBros. Adnarum and NiceToesBros talking directly. I might have to take you up on that grocery shopping offer this weekend if you're down. Thank you for letting me know. I'm absolutely down. It'll need to be on Saturday because I have to go to Tucson on Sunday. But yeah. All right. Thank you. Saturday would be perfect. I have the whole day open. Groceries at 1? Sure. BDO cheer in a fucking text message like it's normal. Hell yeah. Okay. This is what they spent. $269. $207. Grocery shopping for just him. Not somebody else, just him. But you know what, man? Slightly Rain. Big fucking W, bro. You bought his name change, man. Fucking Slightly Rain. My hero. Yep. Hey, can we get a clap? Clap. W's in the chat for fucking Slightly Rain. W's. All fucking dubs, bro. Slightly Rain. You paid for a fucking $10 name change, not his fucking $150 goddamn insurance, not his fucking groceries, and that you didn't get a fucking thank you for that shit, bro. He's thanking you, though. He didn't thank us. Thanked you, though. I don't fucking know. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's an absurd thing. It's a lot of chicken and rice. Oh, that's because he ate more than chicken and rice. But I digress. That's not really the point. Let's go back to the videos files. Fucking all dubs, Slightly Rain. I'm being sarcastic, but I really don't have any issue with Slightly Rain. I mean, I get that he probably was sold some fucking snake oil here. Either he was sold incidentally that snake oil, or he wants to believe a nasty narrative. That's up to him. My point is, though, that motherfucker got duped. All right, and that's fine. I'm glad that he bought his name change. Good for him. Fucking all right. Not that he's ever going to appreciate you for it. He'll turn your back on you when he doesn't need you anymore. All right, let's continue on. The next video. Toast says he doesn't want money from the support from, or he doesn't want money or support from hunters. This is him saying he doesn't want it, mind you, after he's already accepted it in the thousands. Remember, gas for trips, fucking food, beer, alcohol. Like, oh my God, bro, he drank me out of fucking house and home. He drank my whole fucking alcohol supply. Guys, I have like an alcohol system in my house that works like a potluck. You bring your drink, and then you can drink it whenever you're here. But if you want to drink somebody else's drinks, cool. You're welcome to bring it. You can drink as much as you want. All we ask is that you bring a drink of your own. That's it. That's the system. Not complicated. Just come by, bring whatever the fuck you want. You can drink whatever you want. But at some point, sometime down the line, put something back. The motherfucker drank me after. He drank all my fucking alcohol to include my personal stash. Wait, this cult is a bar? I'm in. Caster, bro. Yeah, like we do. Hold up. You know what? Can Can I move my camera over there? I'll show you guys my fucking selection right now. Hold on.
They have to rely on the cult to live. Yeah, that was another thing. Like I said, I was giga broke the entire time, and I literally brought this up to Zeroden because Zeroden would offer me like a lot of like monetary assistance and stuff like that, and I told him like, no, I appreciate the offer, but I don't want it because I don't want that level of dependence on you, you know?
All right. Joe said he's out of the Hunters and he wants to be himself, as if he wasn't himself when he was here. I don't know what the fuck this means.
I'm out of there now. I can, at least in a few months, I can finally go home and like start to rebuild as myself, you know, and not as a part of the Kinsworn Hunters.
Remember, he said he joined because he was down his luck. He had no one there for him, and now he's got his community. That's so convenient that they're there for him when he doesn't, when he's fine, right? But it's also kind of wild to me that you make this claim, like we are preventing you from being yourself. The only thing we stop you from doing is haranguing and harassing other fucking random people in a video game. That's literally it. Boogie, welcome in, bud. Welcome in. We're still in drama time. This is taking a lot longer than I expected, but we're going through it. Those of you guys that are coming in late, sorry. You're gonna have to watch the VOD. There's gonna be a lot of information in there. Yama, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. It starts nearly at the beginning of the stream, and it's been going on since now. I don't know if I'm gonna export it to YouTube. I'm gonna try to. It might be unlisted if I do, but yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to address some shit, so I'm getting to it. But I basically talked about my guild, how it's structured, and how we've taken care of this person to the best of our ability. You're coming in a little late, so there's gonna be a lot of context missing. But you're welcome to watch through it later on. It is informative. And if you don't know anything about the Kinsworn Hunters, or maybe you heard some nasty things about us, it's actually a really good, it's actually a lot of information for you specifically that you can learn about. But I appreciate you, Poogie, man. I'm glad to see you streaming, man. I am glad to see you streaming now. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to keep getting into this.
Is very different from like Zeroden, right? Like guild leader Zeroden. Stream Zeroden is very fun, very happy person to be around. Like guild leader Zeroden is much more willing to, I don't want to say bring the hammer down, but like bring the hammer down. Like I said,
okay. Stream Zeroden is different than non-stream Zeroden. I'm pretty confident in the fact that I'm the same person everywhere I go. I say this a lot, and I don't think there's a lot of people out there that have met me, and I'm the same motherfucker everywhere I go, to include when I'm at work. I'm the same guy. Tag me in. All right. Let me open up here, Adna. Go ahead. I've opened up Discord. You can talk. Adna wants to say something.
All right. So I'm one of the local hunters. I've hung out with Z quite a bit. Give me just a second to mute stream. I'm hearing myself. Okay, there we go. So, I mean, the thing that I didn't expect when meeting Z, because I met him prior to becoming a hunter, I wasn't expecting him to be the same person online as he is in person. Like a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm the same in person or whatever, and then they're totally different. Z was being genuinely honest. The only thing I think he doesn't sell hard enough is that he gives amazing fucking hugs. Just throwing that out there.
You put me on the spot, Adna.
I know, right?
You put me on the spot, Adna.
But literally, like, you are the same person. When it comes to guild stuff, if anything comes up, you're a good mediator. You have specific ways of handling it at different junctures, depending on what's needed, because, you know, we're all really close. We all know each other well. Like, you cater to the needs of the people there at the time. And that's not you like putting on a facade or anything of that nature. That's you just giving someone what they need in that moment. And I think that's actually a sign of emotional intelligence, but I digress.
I appreciate you, Adna. Did you have anything else before I return to this?
No, you're good. Sorry.
You don't have to. You don't have to apologize at all. I appreciate the interjection, even though you embarrassed me only a little bit. All right, forget everything that nerd said. All right, no, for real. I'm the same guy everywhere. If you've ever met me in person, I'm the same person that you talk to in person that you would talk to online. I don't behave differently. The difference for some people when they go from being a member of the community to being a member of the guild is that I have an additional role of leadership, and I take leadership very seriously. I'm there for people when they need me to be there for them, and when he's talking about quote unquote dropping the hammer, that's just good old fucking truth bombing you. This motherfucker would have an anxiety attack and I'd walk him through that shit. And if that was me not being the same fun-loving Zeroden that I am on stream, I don't exactly come on here and fucking pretend like I'm a rodeo clown. There are some shit that I don't like and I just don't engage with. And then there's a lot of things I do like and I think it's fucking funny. I think for the most part, most people that know me know I'm a chaotic person. I find a lot of things to be very funny. But yeah, the only key difference is the role of responsibility. That's really it. When you're a member of the Hunters, I just have an additional role of a responsibility. And we actually explain that to people when they join. They'd be like, hey, just so you know, you might know Zeroden on stream. Just understand that as you become a member, he has the additional role of also being a leader. So it might strike you as a juxtaposition here and there. Well, I didn't come to yours. Well, I didn't want to be at yours, Gwen. You told me you were serving escargot, and I made it very clear that I hate snails. It's not that I'm allergic. I just hate them. I would have picked them up and thrown them at you. You're not married? Coward. Okay. So fucking, let's continue on. Zeroden, on stream, off stream, allegedly not the same person, but very much the same person. And again, and later on, I'm going to show you guys where he is very clearly willing to lie.
Because I was friends with Zeroden for so long, right? Before I was in his guild, like we had a lot of fun together, like a lot of good times. And I thought like, okay, I clearly there's something that I've been doing wrong in my life to end up here, So maybe if I join these guys, they could set me on the right path so where this doesn't happen again. So I trusted the process. I trusted the system.
There you have it from him, not me. Remember earlier when he said that he was quote unquote down on his luck. This is what we're talking about. He said this to us. We took him at face value that he wanted change in his life, and we brought change to his life that he asked for. And we offered him many situations to get out of his terrible situation that he complained about daily. The problem is when he moved, he realized that he would have to be an adult and pay rent like everybody fucking else. That's crazy. Here is how Zeroden punishes people. Oh, I can't wait to hear this one. I haven't heard these, by the way, guys.
They temporarily ostracize you as a form of discipline. Only... It's like that one guy. If you didn't, acknowledge your wrongdoing, or, at least try to, talk it out or defend yourself, then you would be made fun of by the guild pretty relentlessly. But that was the only instance of that I actually saw.
Yep. Sure as fuck would. Yep. Hildyne's been there. You fuck something up, we're gonna fuck with you. We're not gonna, there's no punishment. There's no real punishment. The only punishment is the fucking, we're gonna fuck with you because you fucked something up. I'll give you a great example. We had a guy that claimed that he had blacked out. And he did something fucking stupid during that blackout. And when we asked him, hey man, what happened? He's like, I was summoning demons. So I blacked out. I'm like, you're not being real with me. You're not being a real person. And they were like, no, man, these rituals, they take them out of me. I'm like, if you make me go back to the guild and explain your fuck up as you fucking blacked out because you summoned a demon, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do exactly what you asked. I'm going to tell everyone what you've said to me, and you're going to get fucking destroyed. And he's like, that's what happened. I'm like, have it your way. So I did that. And this is the instance he's talking about. We fucking roasted that motherfucker for 3 days until he came back. He was like, yeah, I think I was just a sleep-deprived retard. And we're like, we know. We knew you were a sleep-deprived retard. Like, bro, we would tag him every time. We're like, oh, I can't remember what happened. I must have been summoning demons. And we would just add him in the Discord. I'm sorry. But if you can't handle that shit, it's because you're a fucking pussy. You're a fucking pussy if you can't handle a little fucking joking between friends, especially when you know they're not out to get you because they caught you in a fucking lie. And in his case, like, here's a good example. Hildyne, we have a naming protocol, right? We have a naming protocol on the Hunters. And on our protocol page, it says, do not use underscores under any condition. And Hildyne, I love fucking Hildyne. But when what was it? What was that game? Rainbow Six? What was the game? It was some fucking Ubisoft game, I think. They were playing it. And Hildyne, Division 2, that's the fucking one. And he made his name Hildyne _Hunter. And I was like, what? The one thing we tell you specifically not to do, you did for like a month until his name was changed in the division in our Discord. His name, chat, Hunters, type out what his name was in our fucking Discord. Type that shit out right now. We changed his name in the Discord to that. To that. That's nothing's wrong with it. It's just not protocol. It's just not the rules. It's not that it's wrong, but in the construct of the Hunters, it is wrong. Yeah, no. We had Game God fucked it up too. Game God fucked it up too. I think we gave Game God an even better one. I love Game God gets it every once in a while. If you pay attention to Game God's name on Discord every here and there, he'll fuck it up. He's the original napper. That bro will sleep through an earthquake. If the whole planet was shaking because a fucking meteor was about to strike, he would be asleep for that shit. He is the original napper, bro. He's just a little eepy guy, bro. He's just a little eepy fella. Yeah, just a little leapy guy, Hunter. Yeah, he's just a little sleepy. All right, I'm done memeing. All right, but that's how we quote unquote punish, right? It's like it's social punishment. You know, it's like it's not a real punishment. You're not like fucking nothing's taken from you. You're just gonna be treated like a dumbass because you did a dumbass thing. That's all there is to it. Like, oh no, it's so fucking complicated. Or maybe you just have normal friend groups and that's how it is in friend groups. All right. And it doesn't matter. Even if you punish Game God, he's going to sleep through the punishment anyway. All right, let's he's the original napper. I don't know if you guys don't know this.
You would be made fun of by the guild pretty relentlessly. But that was the only instance of that I actually saw. I didn't really see anything like wild regarding discipline.
Yeah, our discipline, we just we're going to roast you. You're going to get roasted. And I'm okay with that. That's the culture. I'm perfectly fine with that culture. If you don't like it, don't fucking join.
Hook out IRL. What kind of things does he and Kinsworn offer? Mostly just community. You know, it's like I said, you can have like an instant friend group, an instant community, instant support system by joining the Hunters.
What a bad deal. I'd take that deal. Chris, would you take that deal? That deal? Say yes. You take that deal? I'd take that deal. Who'd take that deal? Instant friend group? Instant community? I'd take that fucking deal. That's a damn good deal. Yeah, well, what do we have to do? We got to change our name so we look like one of the members of the community? Oh, yeah. I'm in. If you don't want to, don't. Fucking straight up, don't. We tell people do not join if any of the rules do not jive with you, bro. Yeah, I'd take that deal. That's a damn good deal. All right, let's keep going. The evil Zeroden. All right, y'all about to see this desperate pit. If you're down in your luck, the prison sentence you'll be sent to. If all else fails in your life, this is the area I have set up for people. This is where I help people, man. It's a memory foam mattress. It's got a TV in there. It's a 55-inch TV in there. Got a desk space, a window. It's a fucking nice place. Like, and it's right by my front door. So if you need to come and go, you can come and go freely without bothering anybody. Like, and I have this guest room to help people out. That's like the only reason I have it. In fact, like, I think once I'm done with the military, I might like do something for veteran helping hands. I don't know. We'll see. It's a thought. Ecstasy. That's crazy, bro. What? I look at the chat and the only fucking thing I see is ecstasy. Shut the fuck up. Fucking wild animal. But yeah, I mean, I take care of people, man. I want people to be comfortable. It's not like, and it's not like anything crazy. I just do this for anyone that needs it. You know what I'm saying? Here's me helping him, trying to help him out.
This one I saw was when a hunter needed a new GPU. So he kind of sent out a ping into Discord, essentially canvassing for donations to get this new hunter a new GPU. I think he leveraged one of his connections with Icon to get them a new power supply too. So he essentially built like half of this person's computer for them when they needed it. That was the first thing I saw, and that was like one of the big things that turned me on to the hunters when I was a riot.
What a terrible person I am. I helped out somebody who before they were even a hunter. Boy, oh boy, when am I going to learn my lesson, man? When am I going to learn my lesson?
And if you need it, like, he will just straight up let you live with him if you're a hunter. Like, I've seen certain hunters be rescued from homelessness. Back when I was trying to join the army, when I was trying to join the army, I needed a reference on my SF-86 because the position I wanted to go for needed a top secret clearance. So I wasn't even a hunter back then, I was still Toes. And he just outright was willing to give me his name, his address, his phone number, so I could list him as a reference. I wasn't even a hunter back then, I was still Toes. And he just outright was willing to give me his name, his address, his phone number, so I could list him as a reference for these people. Like, he's objectively done a lot of good, right? I don't think Zeroden's a bad person, but I think he's a bit of a control freak, right? And I think his need for control does taint that a little.
So all this fucking snake oil about me being all this controlling evil thing, man, like, none of this is reflective of reality. This is a person's perception of it. So when somebody sits there and tries to say I'm very controlling or whatever the fuck, there's no mechanism of control outside of the construct of the guild's rules. And we all follow it, to include myself. Yeah, he's poor and he's going to Vietnam. I mean, don't worry about it makes sense if you don't think about it. Remember, he was miserable with his old job. Told us all about it. You saw it in the text, and you'll see it more later on when I pull up the screenshots. He's going to move back in with his parents and get his old job back. All right, here's him saying he's too poor to eat.
We got a 180 different person. God, do I remember meeting you guys at TwitchCon? I hope I can, are you guys going to TwitchCon again this year? I hope I can make it myself, but I have, like, a 2-week-long Vietnam trip, like, less than a month before TwitchCon, so...
There's not been one fucking time, not once, did he ever have a situation where he was truly in threat of not having food in his stomach. We cooked for him. We bought him food. We took him out. We did everything we could feasibly do to help this fucking man-child who refused to get a job have a measure of success in life where he could actually live and be on his own until he got his fucking job, until he started getting paid.
Like, I myself am banking on being able to get my old job back when I return to Ohio. If I can get my old job back, then we are in the clear. Like, we'll be fine.
But the problem is he's not patient. He's freaking the fuck out and he wants to go home, and that's fine. He wants to go home. I'm fine with that. Not an issue. But to sit there and turn around and start feeding into these narratives. Look, something cults do is indoctrinate people. Look at this fucking snake, this fucking rat right here, feeding him into this shit. And Heiress of Shadows, bro, you've met me in person, you fucking cow. You've met me in person. You're going to fucking sit there and act like this is normal? Anyway. He's too poor to eat. We made sure he had food in his stomach.
Yeah, man. Like, if I did not have, like, my sister or my family, and I was still in, like, the shitty, like, super poor stage of me being out here, then I just would not be able to eat. Not after leaving.
The problem with this narrative is he was trying to sow this idea that we were making it so that he could only eat what we told him to eat. It wasn't just like white rice, dude. My wife cooked that in Arab style. It was like Arab style rice. It's my mom's recipe. She made that for him. And she made him a lot of it. She made him like fucking 20 pounds of rice. And the only reason that she made him rice is because that's what he said he wanted to eat. That's literally what he fucking said he wants to eat. He's like, I love rice. Rice is a staple of my diet. That's what she did for him. we made him rice because that's what he said he fucking wanted to eat. And
Still in like the shitty like super poor stage of me being out here, then I just would not be able to eat. Not after leaving. And there was a point in time out here where I ate nothing but white rice. And you know where I got that white rice? Zeroden gave it to me. If Zeroden did not give me that food, I would have starved. It's literally as simple as that.
I ate the same rice. I thought that fucking rice was delicious. It was, again, my mom's recipe. Chris made that shit out of love.
When I chose to leave the Hunters, I told Zeroden, yes, I don't want to be a hunter. I had to do so knowing that I would never see even people that I was like friends with into Hunters ever again. That's just a consequence I had to accept. And at least until I get back home, across the country, I am more or less on my own. Yeah, and like, remember, Zeroden's a PA partner, right? He has influence too. He can and has messaged people before, like saying, hey, X person is dangerous because they did X, Y, and Z.
Yes, I have. And I'll do that again because that just seems logical. If I know somebody is dangerous because of something they've done and they're in my friend's social circle, I'm going to tell them what that person did to protect my friends. That's just common sense. And if honestly, but yeah, this is like, if it was me and somebody doesn't tell me something, I would see that as a personal failure. If you know that there's a shitty person in the community and they're trying to be in my social circle and you don't fucking tell me, you're complacent in their shittiness.
Right, I saw him do it to one Desgra when he messaged a different streamer.
Yep. I could tell you exactly who he's talking about. Dagon. He's talking about Dagon. That was a two-faced motherfucker too. And he started hanging out in another friend group. And I basically said, hey, just be careful about this guy. He's a fucking two-faced piece of shit, dude. All right, now check this next one out.
The one to let someone starve, that shit sucks. And I don't care who you are. Yeah.
Listen to this. This is this motherfucker right here, this two-faced little fucking snake. Let me get out of the way so you guys can actually see what he's saying. Because again, he is getting riled up in the fucking chat, and this dumbass is believing he's just eating it up because he's too stupid to know the difference. The last step is to request more and more from this newly fully indoctrinated person who is now fully committed to the cost of trying to leave. Requests become more and more invasive because the cult knows you have to comply. You have no other choice. What requests? We didn't ask shit from this fucking guy. Nothing. We've asked for nothing. Look at this fucking retard regurgitating chat GPT bullshit, fucking riling him up. This fucking asshole is farming this guy for content who I now have to defend myself against these open ass fucking wild claims, bro. Sachikoro, you are a piece of shit, bro. You are a shitty human being for doing that to this guy. He is an idiot and you fucking made him do this shit. Just be honest with you. You're a fucking piece of garbage. Anyway, yeah, is he fucking, should he know better? Yeah, he should know better, but he's obviously kind of fucking retarded. Anyway, I apologize. Let me fucking continue on.
Yeah, that shit was brutal. Granted, he offered me, he's just straight up told me, hey, if you're hungry, let me know. You can come over and like have a pizza or something, right? And I always refused him, right?
He always refused me, guys. He never took us up on the offer. It's all imaginary. It's only when he was absolutely starving.
Up until like I said, like, yeah, okay, if you have, I just need white rice, just something to live. That was the only time I ever like really accepted it.
Oh yeah, I bought him a rice cooker for Christmas. I forgot about that shit. He asked for, he's like, oh, I need a rice cooker so bad. For Christmas, I bought him a fucking rice cooker. When I was at my lowest point, I accepted, right, motherfucker, I bought you a rice cooker, you fucking ungrateful ass.
And there was this one hunter that just straight up took me grocery shopping, right? But they didn't do it. They very clearly did not do it as like a control thing. They did it because they saw me fucking go hungry. They didn't want me to starve.
Fucking shit, dude. Here he is. But all that, guys, all that sounds like a really bad time. It sounds like he's had it really rough. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this disingenuous fuck, bro. He's like, thankfully you didn't get to that part where the last step where they Charles Manson you. Yes, that you didn't get that far into the program. What a fucking loon, bro. You're such a, like, you can't, I'm sorry. If this is real, if you really think this, you have brain damage beyond the level that I can fucking explain to you. Like your fucking brain is like a jalapeno popper, just full of fucking bacon and cream cheese, man. Can't even say that one with a fucking straight face. That tastes good. They do. I wouldn't know. I don't eat fucking bacon, but I'll take your word for it. But yeah, he's saying it's not your. Trust me, bro. It's all a part of it, dude. I know. I'm Sachikoro on the internet. I play a Musa. I know all about Zeroden. Never had a direct conversation with him, but I know he's like Charles Manson. He's evil. Fucking fuck you, you loser. Get the bro. Get me out of your head. Give the fucking mental image of me you have in your head a break. He needs a fucking rest. He's been running too many laps. I haven't fucking ever interacted with you. That fucking version of Zeroden needs some downtime, bro. I feel tired just thinking about him.
Because you're not at that part yet. Well, thankfully, I never got to that part. It's like I said, I'm just glad it's over, dude. I've cut ties with them. I've blocked and banned them from my stream, blocked them on Discord and shit like that.
You don't have to block me on Discord, bro. I'll never message you. Doesn't matter. You don't have to ban me on your stream. I would never go to your stream. Only reason I have these fucking clips is because Lunar made me look at them. Because of the fucking everyone else asking him to get involved, which asked me get involved. That's the only reason we're here right now. That's the only reason we're in this fucking present timeline, dude.
Yeah. It's like I said, like, Zeroden is very well connected. Like, he straight up, like, he could get you a job in the government if you were willing to comply.
Wow. What a nefarious guy that Zeroden. He's willing to get you a government job, a stable government job, bro. Man, what an evil fucking... Bro, I hate this Zeroden guy more and more. I'm just hearing about him just boils my blood.
He almost did for me, right? If I was completely, like, full on, like, taking the Zeroden pill, I would have cut my hair and I would be in the border patrol right now.
No, Ravakar, I won't. You're not in my inner circle. I won't do it. You're not in my syndicate. What the fuck, bro? Yeah, man, I leverage connections to help people find work because I feel like being able to work and having money is a basic human right because we need it in this society. I don't think there's no nefariousness behind that, man. Which is why he couldn't find fucking jobs out here. A lot of the jobs out here are government. They have appearance standards and he has fucking femboy long hair, bro. I mean, I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying that it is a job requirement in a lot of places. Even if you go to work at like a fucking fast food place, some of them motherfuckers will make you wear a hairnet. It just is what it is, man.
But I wasn't willing to cut my hair, right? So I never did anything like that.
He did not want to do the things that would help him find employment.
You can message me, but I'd really prefer to just kind of live my life, you know?
Guys, he prefers to live his life and doesn't want drama so badly that he actually went on another stream and talked about this.
Yeah, Lunar, you can message me, but like I really just don't want anything to do with the Hunters. Like it's like I said, like I cut ties.
He didn't want to have anything to do with us for 3.5 hours of his stream and then 2 hours of his next stream. That's how badly he didn't want anything to do with us. He didn't ask me anything section on the guild and just started talking about some random shit that's not reflective of reality to misrepresent it while some motherfucker in this chat is trying to make it sound like we're doing some evil shit.
Remember? And you layer everything on them all the time really fast, it scares them off.
1,000%. Who said that? Who just said that? Let me look at the chat. He just didn't want to get exposed. Where did I fucking see that? Yes, Grizzrek. 1,000%. He did not want to have a counter argument. That's why he had pre-banned everybody from the stream. Not because, like, there were people like Adna who bought him fucking those groceries that just cared about his well-being, didn't know what the fuck was going on. She didn't know what was going on. She just pops into a stream and she's banned. Right? She was like, I'm sorry, but like, unless you say crazy shit in my chat, I don't just ban you out of my fucking stream, man. You know, actually make sure he's not fucking banned too, so he can come in here and fucking defend himself if he wants to. Even people who have said crazy shit, I'm the one who's told Chris to unban them. Chris usually bans them real quick. I'm usually like, don't ban him. Yeah, he's not banned. He's not banned in this channel. I don't need to. I can defend my fucking self. My position is defensible.
Right, which is why it's you don't want to do that when you're trying to reel someone in. Like you want to start with the red and black, the names, and like maybe the gender protocol, because like the gender protocol is fucking weird, right? But it's not malicious. And then when they're invested, you start the more insane stuff, like the oath of loyalty and the rankings and whatnot.
I don't have any oaths in my guild. No oaths of loyalty. We do have an oath, though. It's, guys, I'm going to say something crazy here. Guys. Yeah, we'll talk. I don't mind talking about the gender protocol, Kyle. I'll talk about that in a second. But guys, I'm going to give you guys know when you watch a movie and they say the title of the movie in the movie? You guys ready for this? Kinsworn Hunters. Kinsworn Hunters. My mind's blown. Mental boom. It's in the fucking title. We are the Kinsworn Hunters. There is an oath. Yes. Fuck. You don't want to take that shit, don't join. We don't even fucking present it right away, man. It's like fucking, it's like, you know, you're in for a while and we're like, hey, we decide your trial period's kind of like coming to an end. We want to keep you. Do you want to fucking become a full-fledged member? Yes? Cool. Oath of loyalty. No? Cool. Get the fuck out. Actually, we don't even kick people out. We just tell them like, hey, you know, if you need more time, no problem. Literally what we say at every promotion is if you need more time to think about it, dude, not a problem. Not a problem. We will never force somebody to take the promotion. Not once. As far as the gender protocol, yes, a gender protocol exists. Hello, Kyle. The way it works in the Kinsworn Hunters is like this. And I don't mind being as detailed as possible because I'm on stream, but I don't do this all the time. It is on my website. It's clearly listed there, but I'll explain it anyway. Let's say you are a male in real life. You'll play a male character. Now, the problem becomes when you play a game like Black Desert Online or a hero shooter where characters are gender locked. Now, this becomes complex because that sucks, not being able to play a play style because of a certain gender locking. And I fucking hate gender locks. I do. I think they're fucking terrible. But like in World of Warcraft, it's not really a problem, right? If you're a male, you just play a male because you can play any class, any race combination. In hero-based games, that protocol doesn't apply. You are not tied to the gender protocol. That is called a caveat. We have caveats in place for games that limit your play style based off of gender. In Black Desert Online, we use the tagging system. So you can either, if let's say you main a Megu and that's the only class you really want to play, you want the Megu to be your main, you can have the Megu as your main, but you must tag a male character, right? If you have a striker as your main and you want to play a fucking Seraph, cool, not a problem. You just tag the Seraph. If that does not suit you, then don't fucking join. We literally explain this to people before they ever get to the membership process of the guild. This is part of the interview before a guild invite is even sent your way. We explain this in black and white from top to bottom. That is it. That is the high and low of the gender protocol. You can literally play any class you choose to. You just have to tag your correctly gendered character. That's it. And the reason that we don't modify it so there's none is because I am not willing to break long-standing guild rules for a game that's a fucking fraction of the guild's age. The guild is almost 30 years old. Black Desert Online is almost 10 years old. The chances that the Kinsworn Hunters outlive Black Desert Online are pretty fucking high. And I'm not about to fucking sacrifice my guild standards internally for a game developers because they're too fucking lazy to program male versions of every class. I think that's lazy, and I think that's how I fight that shit. Anyway, continue on. Exactly. Gender protocol wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't gender lock classes. But even with gender lock classes, it's not really a big problem unless you play multiple female characters. Then it can be kind of fucking annoying. And I empathize with that. I really do. But it is what it is. I mean, you know what I mean? All right. So we don't pressure you until after you join, we don't pressure you at all. There's no pressure. It's literally you are learning about the guild and you are making a determination if you want to be in the guild as time goes on.
That's my biggest vice. Like, I love going to the gym, and like, I generally eat clean. I just fucking love booze, dude. Like, both of my grandfathers loved it too. Like, it's a family thing that everyone in my family just likes to drink. You're lightweight? I'm also lightweight for some reason. Like, you wouldn't think it because of how much I drink, but I am.
You got so fucking drunk at my house on New Year's, you passed out. Even I have female characters that just swap tags. Yeah, if you have like multiple, like it's not like tagging is that crazy. It's just expensive. Like it's just annoying. But like it's annoying all across the board. I also agree that I'm annoyed. Hearing stuff about free pizza, liquor, and Taco Bell sounds like a pretty shitty place to. Yeah, God damn it! I got a rice cooker for being in this motherfucker. I hate it here. But you know what? As soon as I left, I got a family name change. Big money. I'm up huge. Okay, anyway, let's keep going. Loves to drink. He does. He is an alcoholic, and you'll hear that reference many times over.
I think Zeroden wanted me to work at like fucking McDonald's out here.
No, man. I wanted you to get any job. You were picky. I told you 7 months in advance. We showed the screenshots earlier. Yeah, Cass has something she wants to say, but let me finish just saying this part real quick. I said this earlier, and we showed the screenshots. I asked him 4 months in advance to start looking for work out here. He just didn't. And then he was refusing to work anywhere else. So, all right, Cass, the floor is yours.
When it comes to, there's a reason why our application process takes so long. It's the reason why it takes 2 to 3 hours to do everything from the interview to the onboarded. And it's because we want to make sure that whoever is applying to the guild is fully aware of all the protocols. There is nothing about the guild that a person will not know before they make that decision to join. And even after they join as a riot, which you guys will see a lot of our riots who wear yellow, they can still make the decision at that time to leave the guild. So if they're like, okay, this is not for me, we're like, no problem. You can go ahead and dip out at any time. But, the thing with people like Toes and a lot of Desgers that we dealt with, in fact, all of them, is that they make the decision to say, yes, I'm going to be here for the long haul. They don the red. And then they find out later, or maybe they always felt that way, that, the guild wasn't for them, and then they break their oath and they leave. And we've had situations in which Desgris have left and we never heard from him again. But on the other end, dealing with Toes in this situation, he's trying to find any reason and any logic to blame the hunters for why he broke the relationship off, because that was his decision, not ours. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate you, Cass. Is there anything more you want to add before I mute Discord?
On another slight topic, there are a lot of individuals, unfortunately, within NiceToesBros age range that are so radicalized, whether it's with politics or whatever, how they see the world, and that they don't want to conform. They don't want to have a standard job. They don't want to put the work in. They want to just freeload off of other people. And when they're forced into a situation in which they have to get help, they resent the people who help them and then twist that kindness and that generosity into something that they see as malicious. People like that will continue to burn their bridges throughout their life until they either grow out of that situation or they just continue to spiral out of control. And that's all I have to say. Thanks, Say.
Appreciate you, Cass. All right, I'm going to mute Discord. And Age is actually a good example of somebody who was in the Hunters as a riot, came in, joined for a while, said, hey, this isn't the right time for me, left. There's no hard feelings. He's been welcome in our communities. He's been a part of the streams. He's been a part of the chat. I like his presence. He's in our public channel. It's all fucking well and good, man. There's no issues. I've never treated him less than I did before he joined. I never treated him lesser or more. So just keep that in mind. I see Moroku saying, how dare you pressure this poor individual to get a job and support himself? That was the goal, just to help him get self-sufficient, because he wasn't. But we'll get to that in a bit. There is more things I'm going to say about the way that, different generations of people view relationships. And I'll get into that towards the end, because I do think it's important. But I do want to get all this out of the way before we get to it. What's up, Adna? Can you not hear me on stream? Test. She's saying she can't hear me. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. I know that we'll get to it. This didn't become obvious to me, but I need to not jump down a rabbit hole. I need to get through these clips, and then we'll talk about the screenshots, and we'll talk about some basic concepts.
Yeah, no. But basically, Zeroden convinced me that I would be financially fine if I moved out here to his town. Well, it turns out there's like absolutely zero employment opportunities out here, so I just spent the past 6 months burning through all my savings. Yes, yeah, I know, it was retarded.
We've already talked about this. This is about his pickiness regarding, you know, jobs that were available to him. He didn't want to work jobs that had him dealing with any other human beings, and that was part of the problem. It's not that the jobs weren't available to him; it's that he was too picky. He didn't do any research. He didn't try to apply for jobs before he came out, and the savings that he burned through weren't even expenses for his living. It was fucking his food and his car payment, which is $550 a month, and his car insurance, which is $150 a month. That's where all his money went. Just FYI, things he would have had to pay for even if he wasn't here. Listen, like, guys, I know you're hearing car payment and thinking that's crazy. Go back to that part of this VOD, I promise. It's wild. The car payment thing is crazy. There will be evidence of that later.
Yes, yeah, I know, it was retarded. Like, I asked, like, over and over again for assurance, like, yeah, this will be fine. Nope, so it wasn't fine, so here I am. That's why I fucking left. Because my whole fucking life was turned upside down because Zeroden assured me that everyone was hiring. No, it turns out everyone was not hiring.
Yeah, the now hiring signs are in front of every single business because this is a military fucking area, and everyone here is in the military, and the town is in desperate need of workers, and we have a shortage of workers. Yeah, that's because they're not hiring. Or is it because that you're just too fucking selective over the jobs that you want, and you do not want to pick jobs that require you to know, require you to change your maybe appearance, or that give you benefits at the cost of, you know, your fucking long hair or some shit, or maybe you have to talk to somebody in real life and that scares you. Like, those are the problems, man. Like Moroku, if you go to the beginning half of the stream, he was complaining to us for literally more than a year about where he lived in his current job. He was complaining to us about that every day on voice, in text chats, and you're going to see some of that a little later on when I get back into the screenshots. Like, we were just trying to help him out, man. And we did help him out. He just has anxiety and regrets his decision. That's all it comes down to.
Like, to pad out my journey? No, he convinced me to move it up to December 16th. And then he tried to get me to quit my job without notice. So it's like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'm an Asian man. I don't quit my shit without notice. Unless fuck that job, but, you know.
He was set to move out in December. He moved out in December. I asked him, I was like, hey, can you move out a week earlier because they were trying to get their place? Because that was the reason. Had nothing to do with me trying to get him to do some shit. They had rented an apartment and they needed to occupy the apartment by a certain date. And if they didn't occupy the apartment by that date, they would lose that fucking reservation. It's nothing to fucking do with me, man. It has nothing to do with me.
But yeah, originally I didn't even want to leave the guild. I just wanted to go back home. But Zeroden was like, no, you can't do that. That's unacceptable. I was like, okay, I'll leave the fucking guild then. Which, I mean, in hindsight, I'm glad he did say that, but is he convinced other members to relocate? Yes. Yes.
You guys saw the chat earlier. Is that what happened? Is that reflective of reality? The chat you guys saw earlier, was that reflective of what actually happened, or is this just straight up a fucking lie? This is the most cope lie I've ever fucking seen. Somebody just, how do you just, like, you could see on his face how bald-faced, knowing that shit is not true. Watch his fucking facial expression. That shit just changes immediately. It is so obviously a fucking lie. I didn't want to leave. Not anywhere was that ever even indicated. I made it very clear to him many times that him leaving this area does not mean that he has to leave the guild. The problem became when he called me a fucking transphobe and I fucking pressed him for an argument out of it. And then it turned to a confrontation in which at the end I asked, do you want to be a member of the guild? And he said no. Yeah, I'm glad I fucking did too, bro. I would have rather have gotten rid of you now than 2 years from now and then have to deal with 2 more years of pain lost over you. Have I convinced other members to relocate? Yeah, I think I have. I like having my friends live close. I think that's pretty normal for most people who are adults. They just want to live near their friends. And when people are in a situation where they are like, they don't have anything going on where they're at and they're lonely, I say, you can come stay here. I am more than happy to do it, and I will do it again. I've done it before to people who are current members. I've done it for people who are not members. I've done it for people who are no longer members. It doesn't matter to me. I'm down to help people out one way or another.
How's the truth teller Lunar not exposed? So because I specifically told Lunar, like, yeah, I don't want to make it like some crazy big deal. I mostly just want to move on with my life. Like, I don't want to have a big, like, I don't know, drama stream. I've never liked doing drama streams.
That's crazy, because you did a drama stream for like 3 fucking hours. You guys are just seeing the highlights. You're just seeing the highlights, guys. You're not even seeing the actual fucking stream where the content was crazier. Yeah, Demise and I talked. I think Demise was one of the, like, I said this in the beginning in the preamble, right? But
I can't hear well since I was kicked in my ear by a horse when I was a kid.
fucking great. Thank you for that, Gwen. I said this earlier on in the stream. The reason I had to do this was because some of our mutual friendships started to become effective, and Demise was actually one of them. He's one of the mutual friendships that became impacted by this fucking snake oil, this lie, these narratives. So I figure if I just address it once and be done with it, I'm done with it.
The amount of support I have actually received since leaving the Hunters and all this has been like absolutely insane to me.
He spent hours telling this sob story, and he was gaining subs for it. And that's kind of like where, for me, I was like, okay, so you're defrauding people. Guarano, I don't know you, Guarano, but I hope that you're okay with that. If you're okay with that, then that's cool. If you're not okay with it, whatever. But basically, this dude was throwing money at him for his sob stories. And it just wasn't true.
Like, I thought I was to be restarting, you know, just like without the Hunters. I thought it was gonna be fucking 2024 all over again, had no one down on my luck.
Yeah, that's crazy. That in the time that you were in the Hunters, you were able to build up a community and a support structure that supported you outside the guild. Isn't that crazy that happened? Boy, oh boy, how did that take place? Maybe because the guild was also supporting you and wanted you to be successful, and we never held you back. I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I'm just some fucking guy. There you go. The most he's ever had. He told his sob story and gained the most money he's ever had. And this is, for me, the crux of the point here, is he used this to garner sympathy, to gain views. And now, granted, he's not a huge streamer. He's like a fucking, average 20 to 30 viewer Andy. And this gave him that 10 to 20 hunter hater view bump. Cool. Hunter hater view bump. You got it. And he got money for it. He got paid money for the view bump.
Thank you, everyone. I have 42 subs. That's like nuts to me. That's the most I've ever had. But yes, thank you, everyone. Like, for real. Let me put my... If I'm gonna be on land. If you enjoy having any level of autonomy, identity, or financial well-being, then do not join Hunters. 3 of them wanted you. Yeah, their whole fucking guild wanted me. No, you would not. They police your behavior pretty hardcore in there.
Just for perspective, the 42 fucking subs that he got, that big money that he got, is not even a fraction of the amount of material support he took from us just to help him live, because he refused to find work in a timely manner. Oh, I'm so glad we got this part. So in his chat, here's my favorite part. You guys can see this, right? Tears does art. So in the Hunters, there's a word, Desgra. That's how we describe really quickly former members of the guild. If you're an ex-hunter, if you took the oath and you failed out, you're a Desgra. If you're a riot and you left, no hard feelings. But if you took the oath and you broke the oath, you are a Desgra. That's a mech warrior term. I did not make that term up. All right. So here's the thing. He's a Desgra. Tierce is a Desgra, right? Here's the thing. Tierce, when I lived in Michigan, this person was under guardianship, which means that somebody else manages their adult affairs because they're incapable. On Thanksgiving, they were going to be alone. we took them in on Thanksgiving, so they ate with my family. My brother was there. My work friends were there. My family was there. I took that person in and I let them have Thanksgiving dinner with us. And because they lived 3 hours away, Chris picked them up. 3 hours there, 3 hours back. She drove 6 hours that day to pick them up. Yeah, I lived in Michigan. I had to. I'm military. I was stationed out there. So Chris made that sacrifice, and we didn't ask for anything from her. But while she was here, I let her use my laptop so she could play Black Desert Online like she wanted to in the office with me and my wife, because we had a pretty big office and there was room for, a guest computer. This dumb motherfucker put a virus on my computer because she downloaded that person's, hey, I got a game. Can you check out my game that I made? Yeah. This is the fucking type of idiot that downloads that shit. It's this motherfucker. Since then, this fucking dumb fuck has had their Discord hacked twice. And now their old Discord is under the control of some fucking Turkish monkey. Bro, I can't make this shit up. And was she kicked out for multi-guilding? Absolutely. The reason, Turkish, it was a Turkish guy that stole her account. Anyway, that's beside the point. The reason that they were kicked for multi-guilding was they joined a guild, right? We have a very strict policy. It's the one no fucking tolerance policy in our guild. You cannot be in another guild if you're in the Hunters. That doesn't mean you can't be in other communities. It doesn't mean you can't chat or hang out with other people. You just can't be in their guild, right? It's a known rule. We say this on day 0, right? Here's the thing. This dumb fuck was in a guild on Conan Exiles. And their reasoning was they were kidnapped in the game and they were kept in a village where they were a sex doll. I'm not kidding. That's this for Tears Does Art. Yep. We found out the situation. We had to be like, you need to leave that guild now. Like, you leave that guild right now. You leave that fucking ERP guild today. And she was like, I can't. I'm in their village. I'm kidnapped. I'm like, I can't have you in my guild, man. You can't be here. Like, you just can't be here. So like, we assign people Desgra names that are related. This is roleplay Desgra. This person's roleplay Desgra because they got kidnapped in Conan Exiles and were forced to have sex in their ERP village. I'm not, what am I supposed to do with this information, guys? Like, what am I supposed to do? What would you do if you were me? Like, fucking for real, man. If another adult realistically tells you this shit, like, what do you want from me, man? Like, yeah, all right, you're violating rules of the guild, bro. Like, get the fuck out. Bye. So long. Fucking, like, what are we talking about, dude? But, yep, that's Tears. If you ever see Tears in BDO, that's who we're talking about. This person, look, you can see him talking. Oh, look. What multi-guilding apparently means even private single-player servers or even servers with friends that no one else can access. What she's not saying is to include my ERP guild that kidnapped me and made me fucking have sex with them in Conan Exiles. That's what that's the quiet part. I'll dispel it for you. There's a reason they don't want to tell you the whole story. I'm happy to. I don't talk about it because it's fucking embarrassing, usually for the person involved. And I am not in the business of embarrassing people. It's not my intention. It's not what I want to do. So I just don't talk about it, usually, until I'm made to. Today I happen to be made to. So, wait. Yeah, they tried to claim I was kicked out, but they were planning on making an exception for me. Like, why are they so mad? We're not mad, Tearsy. Like, I don't care about you. You're gone. It's just cringe. You're an adult. You fucking joined an ERP guild on fucking Conan Exiles, and you're trying to act like you're a victim because we kicked you out. And I said, you have to leave the guild now, or I have to remove you. And you didn't want to leave the guild. Or you didn't want to leave that guild, so I kicked you. Like, it's not that complicated. It's not that nuanced. What's an ERP guild? Erotic roleplay guild. I'm sorry I have to say those words out loud, but erotic roleplay guild. It is a guild that requires them to have sex with other guild members in a roleplay sense. It's as gross as it sounds. It's like fucking furries.
Yeah, multi-guild means even private single-player servers or servers of friends. Yeah. They're really strict about it. Toes is the #1 role player. Thank you. That is, yep, that's my crown. I was in an RP guild. Yeah, Tears was kicked for multi-guilding. I left voluntarily.
But yeah, listen, again, I have no problem. I have no problem talking about anybody who's been kicked out of the Hunters. The reason that I don't is to protect their privacy. But if you're going to go out onto a public platform and fucking lie, I will just tell the truth. I will just tell what happened. I don't have a problem with it. So Tears, you got what you fucking wanted. Congratulations.
Who in your right mind want to join that atmosphere? Well, the appeal is, like, if the moment you become a hunter, you're essentially, like, you're getting a new identity, right? And you're getting an instant community, an instant support group. You're getting instant support from Zeroden, who has plenty of resources and connections. Like, I can get why people would join it, right? It's a good deal, but only if you're willing to give up that part, like that identity and that autonomy.
Yeah, it's autonomy. Cass, sorry to say, you have no autonomy, I guess. I don't have autonomy. I'm a member of the guild. I don't have autonomy. Chris has no autonomy. You can't be a human being and be in the guild. That's what he's trying to say. That's the implication here, which is absolutely not true. Look at this fucking oaf, dude. You're a lot more brave than I was. I stayed silent for 2 years. I bore my cross for 2 years. Me alone, I had to bear this in silence. You're so brave. Shut the fuck up, bro. Both you fucking idiots, shut up.
Relax, Hunter. You're scaring them.
Guys, I'm sorry. What a bad deal. That sounds like a terrible deal. All that instant connectivity. Jam. You guys are really down bad, huh?
I mean, I figured either I can come out, I can talk about it, and make a permanent enemy of the Hunters, or I can just lie to my community.
Yet somehow you managed to do both. That's crazy that you managed to do both. You managed to lie to your community and make an enemy of the Hunters. By the way, which just means that we're going to continue doing what we've already been doing, which is ignoring your ass.
Fucking world against me, so as a red player. I mean, he's already tried to throw some shit at me. Like when he went to leave our Blue Battlefield Alliance, he has tried to tell my guild leader that they won't be able to do Blue Battlefield because of me, right?
All right, I can't wait for this
because he thought Torrent was going to choose
do?
them over guild. Well, his plan fell apart because Torrent chose us instead of the Hunters.
Oh boy, I got screenshots for this one, guys. Yeah. What they picked us. We're the winning side of this clear fucking situation where Zeroden tried to manipulate me out of my guild alliance. Bro, none of that happened. I will just show you guys the screenshots of how it actually happened. Y'all ready for this? It's gonna be crazy. Here it is. Hey, buddy. Nakujin is out of the Hunters. He was the primary reason we had any Blue Battlefield interest. So with his departure, I expect we will likely dissolve the alliance. I think his plan may be to join with Guild, so you guys should be able to continue playing together. I wish you guys the best, and I hope you many victories ahead. Guys, is that what happened? Was I trying to leverage my influence to get him kicked out? Is that what happened? What about Hild? Torrent's main reason for this alliance is Hild, not Toes. We've never been a fan of Toes. Oh, well, it's up to you. If you'd rather bring our slots down, we can keep it going. Hill likes Blue Battlefielding. I would rather let Hill come as long as he can. Guild plans to grow into payouts, but that will take time. Sounds good to me. Toes has always been the most outspoken, so we just assumed it was for him. If we can give 28 guild slots, Hill can come in till they fill. Hill is basically family to Torrent. I can't change our guild slotting because we have growth too. But if you can make it work, we're happy to keep it for Hill. You can't drop down to 60? When I get home, Let me look into it. I might be able to do it. We have 3 applicants at the moment. I need to see where we're at. If I can make it work, we will. I'll kick someone from Torrent and have us drop down to 61 if need be. That means we're both at 61 and we have 1 slot for growth. I tried to leverage him out of the guild. That was the first time I tried to leave. Here's the second time I tried to leave. And when I actually left, hey, we're going to break the alliance ASAP. We need to separate from guild. Maybe the perception was here that in his brain, he thought maybe like, I don't know, that I'm trying to weasel out guild. I just didn't want to be in Blue Battlefield. We'll do it after Blue Battlefield. You'll screw people over. Otherwise, I'm assuming Toes is causing issues. I'm like, of course. I'm like, that's fine. We don't want anyone else getting caught in the crossfire. I'm like, Salty is basically his adult handler because Toes is an infant child. No argument for me on that. Now, I talked about a little bit about Toes or whatever. But yeah. He's like, I've always disliked Toes. Pretty sure Toes knows that. After our next loss, I'll just disband the alliance. I'm home now. So we can set up with Floyd. And I personally don't give a shit whether we're in the alliance or not. I'm like, we can reform after Blue Battlefield. My intent here was so they don't get screwed over in their Blue Battlefield. And that's why I didn't break the alliance on my side. But I wanted out. So he can perceive that however he wants, but that is not reflective of the reality of the situation. I didn't say shit to their guild leader. I didn't say shit to guild. I just went to fucking She and said, I want out of the alliance. And they chose Hill over him. My evil plan, my evil Zeroden plan fell apart. What a fucking idiot. Yeah, he's got to manipulate the narrative so you can hear what you want to hear and get your support while trying to stay clear of any controversy. That's why he banned everybody and deleted the bot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, so like, if they could like, the way I saw it is like, if I'm just constantly streaming and telling everyone to Hunters is great, and I had nothing but a great experience in there, then I'm essentially just still living under their thumb, just in a different way. It's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna say what I seen, and say what happened, and just be honest about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest about it and lie. Fucking craziness, dude, the crazy work. By the way, I do have a screenshot here showing that he's clearly willing to lie. He says it himself that he's willing to lie basically to get what he wants.
So people after you leave the guild. People appreciate you being real about it. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. It's just, it's tough. Like, because like I know I have to look over my shoulder to a certain extent now, but I think it's important that the information is out there. Yes, it's considered a lifetime commitment. That you are a hunter no matter what for your life.
Now here, when he says he has to look over his shoulder to a certain extent, what he's talking about is real life. He's talking about real life threats, which never happened. But we'll get to that in his messages with Lunar.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but it was pretty hardcore Succession Dragonia for years.
I don't know why Lunar included that one. I don't know the relevance. Lunar just includes shit. All right. So now we'll get into his DMs with Lunar, right? This is Lunar's DMs with him. Again, we saw this earlier. Lunar asked him some straight up questions. Here's where he says, we could talk whenever you're free. I'll try and keep it short. It's not for any content or video, whatever. I don't like hearing stuff from second and third party sources. Fair. Yeah, I can clarify if you want. I just don't want to get dragged into a long drawn out drama. My focus is moving on from the Hunters and rebuilding my life. Sounds like, again, he's spending a lot of time. Guys, mind you, this happened a couple of weeks ago. I haven't talked about it until today, and I've only had to talk about it because he's come on stream twice and talking about this shit. Yeah, Lord Zeroden will be there to pull you off life support when it's over. I will. You know, you didn't mean to, Quake, but I have had the very unfortunate experience of being the person who's had to like notify family members of somebody's death because when I checked on him, he had passed away from like, I didn't live near him. Like he lived several states away, but I'd been calling him and he wasn't answering. And so it was really unusual when I had police go over to his house and I found out they basically OD'd on some kind of drug and alcohol poisoning. And I had to be the one to tell his family, and it was rough. It was a bad time. But yeah, that's more serious stuff, but neither here nor there. That is a lifetime commitment. That's what it's like to be friends with people. And that was a member of my guild. We remember him to this day. His name was Sloat. We talk about him every once in a while. All right. So now he says, so I've heard, yeah, it's just a guy leading a guild. Hunters can be intense about ex-members though. So I've heard, again, we've never done this before. The only reason we're doing it is because he went on stream and basically started lying about it for money. So I've heard, I can talk probably today around so-and-so time. And just DM me. Again, Lunar Lay just asking some questions. What was your situation before you moved? Why'd you move? Current situation now. What are you doing moving forward? Right. And here's him talking to Lunar. Of course, you have to direct mentions of names, reveal any personal information. The most part I know about the Hunter's Rule Book on how to handle yourself. I'm more interested in your story personally. That's where it's a bit conflicting for me. Before I moved, I was living with my parents, working a tough, shitty, but well-paying job. It fucking sucked and my expenses were low and I was making progress. I moved here because I thought I could better my situation. Zeroden assured me he wouldn't let me fail, which is true. I did everything I could, all the way up until the point he quit, to help him be successful. That's why he never fucking starved. That's why he always had a roof over his head and electricity running through his fucking machinery and everything else that he needed. I did not let him fail. His opinion of his success is I need an abundance of money in my bank account while not working, which does not reflect reality, right? But it wouldn't let me fail, and I viewed it as an opportunity to restart my life. It was fun at first. We went out drinking and hung out and saw a few movies, but my savings started to dry up, and the remoteness of this town meant very few employment opportunities unless you were gov or military. First, it was the little things to go, subscriptions, eating out, luxuries I could do without. Then it was the major things, my car payments and my insurance payments, my credit cards. I took every extension I could get. And then it was the food. I spent weeks eating nothing but rice, a few select greens, and whatever Zeroden had to give me on the weekends if I was lucky. That was the worst part. Again, this is a result of an adult moving to an area without trying to find a job in advance and not finding a job for excess of 3.5 months after the fact. He didn't start working, and I'm not going to say where, but it's not... I don't know if I should say where. Because it's relevant. I'm deciding if I should say where. I don't think I should. I'm going to respect his privacy. I'm not going to say where. He started working at a department store. Let me put it that way. One of the ones that he thought was beneath him. He took that job. He could have taken that job in the first week, but he didn't take that job until almost damn near 4 months afterward of living off of no work. Instead, he got on and played Black Desert Online all day. So instead of going job hunting and doing work, he just fucked around on BDO. I went out personally and stopped into businesses and talked to owners to try and leverage connections to get him work. He refused to follow up. Anyway, so I did find a job eventually. Again, a job he could have had in the first week. He just didn't want to. The hours suck and it's incredibly toxic, but it's a check. It's toxic because apparently his boss there, he doesn't like his boss. His female boss is too pushy, but also that doesn't mean anything because he just has AVPD. So he finds everyone who's in a position of authority to be horrible. The food situation is much better as the pressure started to come off, aka as soon as I had money, I wasn't starving anymore because I had money to eat. But he also had food anyway. By the time I leave, I should have enough money for gas and the drive home. I'm going back to Ohio. My parents and I weren't spectacularly close, and my old job was exhausting and filthy, but at least my basic needs were met. I have cut all ties with the Kinsworn Hunters and want to forget about them or this desert shithole ever existed. And I love my fucking town. Yeah, sorry, I mispronounced Ohio. I love my town. I really don't like that somebody calls it a desert shithole. It's kind of a nasty thing to fucking do, especially when the town did him no wrong. He did himself wrong. I need to go back to my steady job and fix the damage this move has done to me and my finances. On good terms, it's hard to say. Technically, it was a cordial and mutual, but ultimately, it's impossible to leave the Kinsworn Hunters on good terms. Not true. It's impossible to leave on good terms and then go around and lie about the Hunters because we are observing whether you are somebody we want around you or not, want around us or not, right? And you've made it very clear that you're willing to lie for a fucking profit. No matter the reason, leaving means you are a traitor and a branded Desgra. True, you are a Desgra. Reed rank and above Hunters are expected to reign in the guild for life. Again, if you do not want that, do not join. We make that very clear when you become that rank. You see it happen before you many times over. People do not join the Hunters because they want to fucking rotate in and out of guilds. And if you do, cool, just don't join my guild. Join another guild. I don't care. There's a fucking million of them out there recruiting. Just don't join mine. Yeah. Fucking, anyway. Yes, I am genuine. Like this, by the way, this is the main reason people join the Hunters. This is the reason. People join the Hunters because they want a fucking family that they're going to keep for life. That is the reason they join. Yes, I am legitimately concerned about my own physical safety. Zeroden always has been extremely intense about past members, owns multiple firearms, and knows exactly where I live. It's true. I do own multiple firearms. I do know where you live. But I've also never fucking shot somebody for leaving a fucking guild. The thought never even crossed my mind, you weird fucking asshole. That's crazy. This is his own mental projection onto me. He is projecting his own fear onto me. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with reality. I've never demonstrated that behavior. He's never even seen my guns. Sorry, late response. Had to talk to some hunters in Zeroden. I didn't want to share what you wrote, but I asked them the same questions for their perspective as well. He said he tried to get you to various jobs, even ones in the government military, but you weren't too keen on it. And the hunters were helping you out with going out and living costs like groceries. Something about car insurance? I was told about your current living situation with one hunters and the roommates covering your rent. We're going to get into that, guys, at the end. With one of the hunters and the roommates covering your rent for the last few months, and they were willing to work out logistics for you and move back to Ohio, but the lease is like till the end of the year, so that's another heavy cost to break. If I recall correctly, the talk with Zeroden, you guys said you wouldn't want to make a drama about this, so when someone brought it up to him, he just said you left and that was it, which is true. When somebody asked me what happened to him, I just said he left and that was the end of it. That was a one statement that I made because I will never be the one to fucking open up the fucking can of worms. But then you streamed and was answering questions about it that led to a lot of hunters tuning in. And even I got DMs about some drama. You essentially was saying it was a cult. Also, yeah, I actually sat in on one of the hunter interviews today for like 3 hours. He did. I had Lunar come sit in on a hunter interview. I forgot whose interview it was. It was either, I think it might have been Burns, but he sat in, or it might have been Crisell's actually, but he sat in on that interview. I just had him like, yeah, man, we are very transparent about how we do this, how we conduct. The only reason the interview takes so fucking long is because we're explaining every rule to the guild. And it was as you said, just some rules or protocols. They just want to role play with, and they let you leave if you wanted to. About the concern for your safety, has Zeroden have a history of harassing / threatening you or anyone you know IRL? I don't think having a gun means anything because a lot of people have guns for their own safety, which I do. I have guns and cameras for my own safety. I've had people in this fucking community, fucking Becker / December, namely, drive by my house and take fucking pictures from the outside, from the road, and act like that shit was normal. The same dumb motherfucker that every time PA posts something like an event of mine, she'll post like, oh, no thanks, Diddy. That's that fucking person. And I know their fucking name. I know where they live. I don't fucking talk about that shit and I've never threatened them. But they have gone by my house, taken pictures and posted it on a paste bin before. Like, yeah, so yeah, I have fucking cameras. Anyway, I digress. Has Zeroden, like, just to be very clear, that's a very mentally ill person. There's a reason I don't want to fuck with them. It's because I wouldn't fuck with a homeless person any more than I want to fuck with a mentally ill person, any more than I want any attention or any fucking conversation or any interaction with December, Becker, any one of their other 50 fucking identities that they have in this community, because they actually have multiple accounts. They'll log into multiple accounts and talk to themselves on it. It's crazy. Anyway, continuing on. Has Zeroden ever have a history of harassing, threatening you anyone in your IRL? Having a gun doesn't mean that you're unsafe. Has the guild caused you harm or extorted money from you? I'm trying to see what signs was showing that led you to believe that you are unsafe IRL, because it is a serious matter. As for him knowing where you live, he said he let you stay with him and his family for a certain amount of time before you can move out within 100. Just to be very fucking clear, I'm the more vulnerable person in this situation. You're fucking moving away. I'm not moving anywhere. You know exactly where I live, and I had fucking children in this house. I'm the more vulnerable fucking person. So before you sit there and try and say you're a fucking victim because I have a gun and I've never threatened to fucking use it on anybody, all right? Just understand that I'm way more vulnerable than you are in this situation. You absolutely fucking dumb clown, man. What a complete lack of self-awareness. Right? As for him knowing where you live, he said, yeah, okay, let me stay with family. Yep. I did say he could stay with me until he gets his money together. The question I have is, if these people are okay with you leaving and you know what happens when you leave, what's the problem? And I think they were helping you out and also tried to figure out a way to get you back to Ohio. So why talk about them in a way that makes other people feel like it was a negative experience being in the guild on stream if some of the things that you said contradicts what happened, unless what they're saying is false? He's like, yes, after denying them multiple times, I was pressured into accepting their financial help for groceries and my car insurance. We really twisted his arm, guys. He was driving around fucking illegal. I'm like, bro, I could just pay you. You could pay you back later. And that was basically the conversation. I literally told them I didn't want their help because it would change the dynamic of our relationship and make me dependent on them. That's why I said you could pay me back later. Bro. Anyway, but Z did his thing and just talked to me till I agreed. As for jobs, the only ones that Zeroden can guarantee are government jobs like Border Patrol and military, which apart from having to cut my hair and conform to grooming standards, I also have ethical issues with working for our current administration because, again, he hates the United fucking States. This dude hates America. I love America. I'm a fucking proud American. This is an American-hating motherfucker. All right? Which I did not let taint my opinion of him when I was treating him. I did not act on that fact. I still wanted him to fucking have a job. Okay? Especially with Border Patrol or getting security clearance, where you essentially have to give up your right to speak out against the government. Yes, part of our initial agreement moving out here was that I'd pay my half of the deposit and would begin paying rent a few months after I moved in. In terms of rent I owe, it's only 1 month from when I was waiting on my first paycheck, and I've been waiting for rent as normal for the past few months. Just to be clear, he moved out in December. Hildyne covered 100% of their rent and utilities between December, January, February, and March. The first payment that he was supposed to make was March 1st. He was living for free. Nowhere else will you get that fucking offer where someone will say, you can come live it with me for fucking free. Also, if they said they were going to help me to get back to Ohio, they're lying, LMAO, except we just showed evidence where that's not true. Once you leave the Hunters, that's it. The communication I had with any of them was strictly necessary with my new roommate regarding our lease. Again, did he say he cut us off? I'm pretty sure we heard him say he cut us off, right? Okay. That's your prerogative. You can hate whatever country you want to live in, but living in a country and then hating it simultaneously to me is fucking crazy. Like, I'm sorry. I would never live somewhere, choose to be in that place, and then hate it. I've lived overseas. I've lived in third world countries. I fucking love America. All right. Let's see here. Zeroden hasn't harassed or threatened anyone to my knowledge IRL, but he has the means and motivation. He's got anger issues. It'd be dumb not to be a little concerned. Anger issues? Me yelling at you for being a fucking retard isn't anger issues. That's just a normal reaction. I've never threatened anyone. I've never harassed anyone. You said it yourself. And just because I have the means, just because I have weaponry, doesn't mean I'm going to go out and start shooting fucking people, you dumb oaf. All right. Historically, when Z goes on to harass a former member, which has never happened, historically, it's been leveraging connections to try and get as many people to turn on as possible. Again, never happened. I don't need to do that. I legitimately do not need to do that. I do not need to go around and tell people not to talk to this person. I just say, interact with them yourself. You'll find out on your own why you don't want to talk to them. All right. Let me see here. He tried with me by getting Torrent to drop my current guild from the Alliance, and then went to my guild and that they wouldn't be able to blue Battlefield because just show me the proof. If I did that, show me the fucking proof, because that never happened. I never went to your guild and said you wouldn't do blue Battlefield, and I never went to them and I said, you got to cut them out or I'm leaving. That never fucking happened, you liar. And I proved it. I showed the screenshots between me and fucking Sheen, who is the Alliance leader. I don't even have any screenshots to show between me and fucking Floyd because it never happened. My case is different. Actually, let me look at my fucking DMs with Floyd right now. Let's take a look. Floyd is the GM. The last message I sent Floyd was in June of 2025, almost a year ago. I'm going to show it to you guys. This is the last message I sent Floyd. This is his GM. Do you guys see this anywhere? Do you guys see the me leveraging him, trying to get kicked out or ending his alliance, telling him that they're not able to do blue Battlefield? Yeah. Fucking nerding out about Final Fantasy Tactics. So he's straight up lying. This is complete fan fiction, right? And then went to my guild and told me they wouldn't be able to do blue Battlefield because of me, but Torrent chose us instead of them. My case is different from others because I literally lived 10 minutes away from him, and the others were, bro, if I wanted to show up to your fucking house while you were streaming and stand behind you, I had both the authority and means to do so, and I fucking would never. I would never. That's crazy. I have not even gone over there to see my cat, to my old cat, that Dust, who Hildyne owns now. I can't even go over there to pet fucking Dust because you're there. And I'm not going to go there until you leave. So, like, you're not in any danger. In fact, it was me, whether you realize it or not, who stopped fucking Logan from going to your house and beating your fucking ass. It's me who told fucking Hill not to touch your internet, not to cut you off, because you have a right to it because you paid. Ridiculous. I said he has a legal right to be there. And I'd be invited in. If I wanted to go over there right now, I could walk right through that fucking door. I'd be allowed in. It's crazy. I would never do this. I would never fucking threaten somebody like this. I genuinely give a fuck about people. The cat stole one of the guns and is holding him hostage in our red gyms. Maybe. He actually really doesn't like that cat. All right. Anyway, so my case is different. I'm as far as I know, I'm the first one of us who's broken in from the guild in such close proximity. You're not. You're not the first. You won't be the last. I take people in all the time. I'm not about to stop because you're a retard. All right. So yes, I believe some concern is warranted. He knows exactly where I live and he has physically been in my apartment before. Yeah, I helped you move in. I literally built the fucking bed you sleep on, you dumb shit. That bed you're sleeping on, the mattress, I provided both. Hunters are never okay with anyone above the riot length leaving. It's a core tenets of their oath. When you're a hunter for life, and meaning that leaving means you're a traitor. I don't have to tell people not to talk to you. They just don't want to talk to you. People don't join the Hunters because they want people to fucking exit the guild willy-nilly because they just fucking feel like it and fucking screw people over. And there is a legal aspect to this that we'll get into in a bit. You just have to accept burning the bridge when you leave, which is what I did. Sure. Agreed. You accept burning the bridge. Actually, at first, I didn't want to leave the guild. I only wanted to leave Arizona. Again, complete lie. Absolute lie. We showed the fucking conversation where he says, I want to leave Arizona. Zeroden freaked out and told me how unacceptable that was and muted me in the Discord. There's no way in hell these people are totally okay with me leaving. This is your own mental projection. You invented this fucking story on your own and then told it like it's a fact. And then here comes fucking Lunar with the receipt showing me saying, I'll help you get out of here. You can take the fucking money and go. He's like, yeah, I was basically just telling him what he wanted to hear to de-escalate till I knew I had my bases covered. This was right after he muted me in the Discord, right? Lunar says, obviously, I don't think they were going to try and fund and pay away for your move, rent, lease back to Ohio, but it does seem like they were okay with you leaving, and the cost of it was just leaving the community too. I want to come back to the safety thing, because if there was no prior history of IRL threats, I think it's okay to have concerns, but to say it out loud on stream like it was a legitimate threat, not a thought that crossed your mind, seems a bit far. At least that's what caught my eye, but I guess that's your opinion for your own safety level. Anyways, it seems you guys had an agreement that is not to just not make it public or draw attention to it. But of course, we're here. And even I caught wind of it from your stream. If your goal was just to go back to your old BDO life and IRL life, why talk about the Hunters in a way that definitely draws eyeballs to the point that they felt like things that you were saying weren't wholly true? Doesn't that just cause more drama for you, or at least drag you back into it? Because the two main things I got from your stream the other day was, I'm glad I left that cult and I fear for my safety IRL. And of course, that's concerning. He says, the way I see it, part of leaving the community was the cost of leaving Hunters. Also means I'm not beholden to it. If I have to smile for the camera and tell, this is his fucking own mental narrative. This is the mental gymnastics that somebody does to go be a piece of shit. All right. If I have to smile for the camera and tell everyone how great the Hunters is because I'm afraid they're going to come harass me, if I don't, it's just a different form of living under their thumb. So when people start to ask me questions, I feel like I have to give fair answers. And I said both good and bad things about the Hunters and how I personally felt, except you fucking lied. As for the safety thing, I've read all the removal posts on the website. I've seen how Zeroden reacts internally to people he thinks are traitors. Yeah, I think they're fucking stupid. And I have no problem talking about it. I don't because of privacy. Anyway, the intensity and vitriol aren't typically displayed publicly and something you see only when you're on the inside. Bro, you are misreading my fucking situation. I am happy to fucking talk about anyone that wants to be talked about. You left my fucking guild. You want me to talk about you? I'll talk about you, bro. You won't like what I have to say, but I'll talk about you. When I see someone frothing at the mouth over people who have left, someone who also has access to weapons, who knows where I live and is 10 minutes away, yeah, I'm going to be scared. Then fucking be scared, bro. But be scared in fucking your own, like, false state of reality. Yeah, you're a little bitch. I get it. You're scared, but I'm not threatening you, nor will I ever. I have no fucking reason to. If I wanted to show up while you were alive, I could have. I didn't. I have no intention to. That would have been fucking wild. As far as I know, I'm the first person to break the guild like this in such close proximity. Again, not the first. I'm not keen on being the trial run for Zeroden self-control, or your own self-control for that matter. Yeah, I was basically just telling him what I wanted to hear and de-escalate till I knew I had my bases covered. You said that when you were in DMs with him. Wouldn't it be more consistent if you did the same thing on stream, at least until you moved back to Ohio? If you aren't keen on being the trial run, since your safety was a concern. He says, yeah, it would have, but I didn't keep the charade up after seeing I had support. Okay. What does that even mean? Like, let's pretend I'm the unhinged fucking maniac you think I am. And I come in and I put a fucking bullet in your gut, right? Imagine that scenario. Is your stream support, the guy who gave you $10 to change your name, gonna undo that? No. It's just not realistic. What you're saying is a complete fabrication. It's not reality. You're just fucking living in fear because you're a pussy. At the end of the day, you're just a fucking pussy. Your quote unquote support, that's called peer support, something you require in order to tell your fucking fake story. Anyway, he's like, I'm okay lying to Zeroden. Again, I'm okay lying to Zeroden, but I don't really want to lie to my community and pretend everything else is fine. Guys, he's okay lying to me, but he's going to tell you the truth, right? Lying to me is fine. He's not going to lie to everyone else. Surely he won't lie to you. He'll lie to the guy that was supporting him, but he won't lie to you guys. Like, that's what I'm fucking saying, bro. You're openly willing to admit that you will fucking lie. I don't know if you know this. Lunar doesn't like liars, and neither do I. That's why we fucking became friends to begin with. The two of us became friends over that. Because we were fucking exposing liars together. Anyway. Well, you have support because people aren't in the Hunters, so they're just going to stop talking about you. But you also have support because of how you portray the story, right? So as long as you're telling the real full story, it's not like they can refute it, right? I just felt like there were some things omitted or inconsistent. I'd be more conservative about accusing people of potential IRL violence without proper history/evidence, because that's how fake stuff gets spread. Well, thanks for clearing some stuff up for me and confirming some things. I appreciate it. I never accused them of anything. I only voiced concern for myself because it's a legitimate concern. If people are curious about whatever is omitted or inconsistent, they can ask and I'll clarify, like here. No worries, bro. I got you. I clarified for you. You don't need to worry about it. Clarification achieved. You're willing to fucking lie. You're just a two-faced piece of shit. Got it. Done. We've clarified. No other clarification necessary. Okay. Now, there's more to this. I must pull up the Meowtard files. Guys, these are all screenshots, right? We went through this. Went through these. Avoidant personality behavior. This is Toes using Hildyne for content. This is Toes using Hill for content. Hill, his current roommate, had him blocked. This was back in 2022. He had him blocked because he was basically just being a piece of shit to him. I'm not going to read this one for one, but I'm going to put it up on screen because I want you guys to look at this. I'm going to point out a couple of things. Hildyne was upset with him. At the time he was known as Hildegard. This was before he was ever a hunter. Right? He's like, holy, the content though. He just saw his anger as content. Him being upset was content. That's the kind of person that he is. He's like, bro, holy shit, the chat had me dying. He took their conversation and he posted it in the Salty Seas channel, which is like a salt channel, just to have Hildyne, at the time, Hildegard, not a hunter at the time, embarrassed, just to embarrass him. You just had to post that in Salty Seas, anything for some attention. Yeah. He probably, honestly, he probably would suck Diarsa's dick, like unironically, not even a joke. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He'd suck some girl cock. His own words, not mine. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, it's different from Toesy Toes. This is NiceToesBros, the guy in the title. All right. What else? I really want to pull this one up, but I must have saved this as a fucking the incorrect file. But there is a point where he is in my Discord. This retard and another Desgra just fucking meowing at each other in chat. And I'm like, no, that stops now. That's not happening. We put the kibosh on that immediately. This is him and his fucking like crazy car payment. I think it's like something like 16% interest. Fucking idiot, dude. This is why he has no fucking financial situation to speak of. It has nothing to do with me. This is all before he moved out. We already went over buying a food and recreation. Here we go. Lunar, the absolute Chad that he is. I have no idea who he's talking to, by the way, guys. I don't know who he's talking to in the screenshot. I have no clue. He blurred it even from me. Right? Lunar message an ex-hunter to get the vibe off what it's like to be an actual ex-hunter. Hey, quick random question. When you left the Kinsworn Hunters Guild, did you feel like they were going to do anything malicious to you IRL? And did they do anything to you after? No, that never crossed my mind, though my situation was different from how others left. Okay, and last question. Was there any rumor or hint that they would do something IRL? I'll give some context. Some guy left recently and now said that he left. He's afraid for his IRL safety. I asked him, let me put my music back on now that we're done with the video portions. He says, he left recently, and now he's saying there's some concern for his IRL safety. I asked him if there was any history or signs of it. He said he couldn't produce an example. And how he described his situation with Kinsworn Hunters is very different than what I've seen in the receipts they provided. And you're the only person I know that left that wouldn't pull punches about it if it was true. He's like, I'm assuming this is about NiceToesBro. Yeah. So this person, whoever this is, knows who it's about already. Right? Majority of the people that have left after me, I'm aware of. I know most of them or some of them of what happened with each. I honestly think it's just the way he sees the situation. I was never worried about any IRL. While they treat you harsh, or by the way they treat you is harsh at times, it never extends past the game. Yeah, he said, okay. The guild basically is just a super hardcore RP guild. I consider us a theme guild, not a roleplay guild. If you know what a roleplay guild, it's very different than what we are. We are a theme guild. I know that Zeroden let the guy live with him and his family rent-free with his wife and kids, which to me is a mega risk on Zero's end, and that's not the first time either. So it's hard to believe that they would do stuff for him, to him IRL for leaving, or how Toes describes it. Thank you for your input. Again, this is an ex-member, a former member of the guild. Turn the music down. Is it loud again? I'll fix it. Why is it so loud all the time? Yeah, sorry about that. The ex-member says, yeah, Zeroden opens his home to guild/people, so the likelihood he would ever do anything IRL to someone that leaves, IMO, is almost never going to happen. I can guarantee that Zeroden and the others are hurt by Toe's actions and any rumors he might be causing. This guy is not even a fucking member of my guild anymore. This is somebody who probably doesn't like me and knows he knows the assignment. He's at least being honest. I have no idea who this is, but he's being honest. I would never fucking go after somebody like this. I have more to lose than anyone else does. I'm not going to go into extremist views. He has some fucking extremist views. I will not bring them up unless I have to. But he does have some extremist views. We talked about home life before he moved. Talked about this. Yep. This is them picking their apartment together. I don't know if this is relevant or not. We already went through this. I'm not going to go through this unless I have to. I'm going to leave these two. I'm going to leave the extremist views and the transphobia alone. I'm not going to touch those. Right? Because again, I'm not going to jump down rabbit holes. Before I close this, we're going to talk about somebody else's experience. Remember, I told you one of my members, right, did a lot for Toes. They went out and grocery shop for him. This has nothing to do with, this is not my experience. I'm about to read to you guys ad narum their experience with Toes. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That shit's cringe. You start meowing on my fucking voice comms or my text channels. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a drink. Guys, just so you understand, I've been dealing with the stress of this for like a couple of weeks, so I apologize. And there's been a lot been going on in my real life. Like, I've been moving back and forth to and from places, so. Where is this? You know what? Adna's going to read this herself. Go ahead, Adna. The floor is yours.
Okay, I muted your stream. You have the thing pulled up. Cool. So when Toes joined, just a bit about his situation, his job, how he joined, etc. Toes was already in the Hunters before I joined. My first impression of him, honestly, is that he was kind of toxic. He had very strong reactions to small things that came across as very insecure. However, all of us in the Hunters are vetted via the super long interview that Zeroden mentioned earlier and held to a certain standard of behavior, like towards each other, etc. So I cast aside my snap judgments and tried to approach him with an open mind. Over time, it became clear that part of what sourced his seemingly toxic traits was definitely IRL stress and untreated mental illness. He told me while drunk at TwitchCon in 2025 that he had been previously diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, or BPD. I can relate to my IRL stress impacting other social interactions in my life and different mental health struggles, so I was really empathetic towards that. Listening to him talk about how miserable he was living with his family was really hard, honestly. As someone who feels deeply for others, I felt for him. There were a lot of instances like this, especially in voice chat, and I included a screenshot there where he's just talking about, his living situation being stressful. Z showed earlier, like, his direct conversation with Toast about that. So moving on. Z, scroll. Thank you. When he came to Arizona and we all hung out in person a lot, during one of his many times drinking to absolute excess, he was and is a very loud, self-proclaimed alcoholic, and there are just some screenshots of that below. He mentioned that his family was abusive, that his father used to beat his mother. He also talked about a past attempt at suicide. His poor mental health and bad home environment were the whole reason the discussion began about having him move out here to begin with. We were all worried about him, and we wanted to help him get back on his feet. Once he was living independently and didn't need local support, if he wanted to move elsewhere, we all supported that. Like, he talked about moving to California and everything, going a little off script. We all supported that. We were like, okay, well, once you get a job here, you're, paying your bills, you get some savings. Once you have your feet under you, yeah, wherever you want to go, dude, we'll support you. And like, as much as we all enjoy hanging out with friends in person, we just wanted him to be happy and healthy at the end of the day. And if you scroll, there are a lot of screenshots about Toes talking about being drunk, being an alcoholic, talking about alcohol poisoning. I abuse alcohol. Gonna need more alcohol. Yeah, it was not good. When he was in the guild, after moving to Arizona and the help we gave, Z showed the receipts earlier from my various bank accounts. One was my credit card, one was my debit. He put off getting a job for quite some time, wanting to make sure he found the just right position. I mean, I even offered to help him get the job at the company I work for, or get a job at the company I work for. But he told me that if he had to work with other people, he would, quote, call someone a slur. Naturally, that's a bit problematic for me to drop my professional reputation on, so the topic was quickly dropped between us. After a bit of coaxing to let us help so he didn't go hungry, Viz and I helped buy Toes hundreds of dollars worth of groceries. And there's the screenshots again Z shared earlier. And part of why I wanted to read this to myself is I wanted you all to hear the tone in my voice when I say this. I want to make it so abundantly clear. I am not sharing this because I'm upset I spent the money. I have zero regrets about that. Regardless of what he's done to me and the other hunters and how we feel, he does not deserve to starve. I stand by that. I always will. He's a human being, and I am of the belief that food, shelter, clean water, etc. is a basic human right, and everyone should have those things. Our society isn't currently built that way, but I cared about him very much as a friend, and I have many friends in the Hunters and out who can attest to the fact I'm not going to let someone starve if I can help it at all. With that all said, I shouldn't have been in the position to begin with. If he'd gotten a job right away instead of waiting, that circumstance would have been entirely prevented. In that way, I quite literally paid for the consequences of his inactions. And that's not to mention the unquantifiable resources like time, energy, and care that I've poured into Toes and others, like, especially since he's moved out here. Like, other hunters have poured so much of that into Toes as well. During his time in the Hunters, it was very obvious that he had a problem with authority or anyone he perceived as authority. The government, cops, parental figures, etc. I saw over time how Zeroden and Chris, trying to show him the care and guidance at his request, slowly made him resent them more and more over time. This created a rift that grew larger and became very noticeable to me from about the beginning of February of this year onwards, inevitably leading to his departure from the Hunters. Give me just a second to sip some water. So, this part is rough, but I'm going to preface this with the fact that Miss Valney gave her consent to mention her by name to me, like during this part of the discussion. Like, her and I talked about this in advance. Right before Toes left, he attacked Zeroden, saying that he's transphobic, among other things, even dragged Mist into it to try and use her being trans against Zeroden. Zeroden was trying to have a nuanced discussion, which is appropriate for complex topics. Meanwhile, Toes operates in a world of black and white, and anything that wasn't phrased exactly to his specifications he deemed to be transphobic. This was deeply hurtful, not only to Mist, who is binary trans, but also to me, Adna, as a non-binary trans person. It's just another person weaponizing my identity and the identity of so many others to cause a divide between themselves and another person or group of people. Someone loudly saying how supportive they are of me and how evil transphobic people are when their actions tell a different story. More virtue signaling for attention with no substance to back it up, all while taking an extremist stance in a super nuanced topic. And that makes actual allies and the entire trans community look bad. While in the same breath, fetishizing trans women, talking about how he would suck some girl cock in person, and being homophobic, calling totally normal behaviors like sitting next to a man on a couch meant for multiple people gay. For someone so outspoken as a supposed trans ally, Toes never made an effort to get my pronouns correct, and he outed Mist in a space where she was not open about being trans. To contrast, Z has always been very careful not to specify who when he mentioned to me prior to becoming a hunter that there was a trans hunter amongst the ranks and I would be welcome as well. And he only mentioned it because it was relevant to the discussion at hand. And for context, we were discussing gender protocol because I was like, how does that work as a non-binary person? And honestly, Z also messes up my pronouns sometimes, sure. But you know what? He tries and he gets better with it every day. I never expect perfection, but I deeply appreciate effort because it shows the person gives a shit. That ultimately they value and recognize who I am, and they want me to know that. Z has always put in that effort. Toes never did. And it's absolutely wild for him to point the finger at Z and say he's the transphobic one when Toes is the one who broke the two most basic rules of being a trans ally for both binary and non-binary trans people. 1, don't out closeted folks without their consent, and 2, use the correct pronouns. It's not that fucking hard. And this little bit is partially biased from my own lived experience, but I also would normally expect better from someone who is so supposedly involved in supporting the trans community, specifically due to them having more exposure to using different pronouns. As someone who uses they, them, that's not something that's a lot of people have exposure to outside of the queer community. I know that. I account for that. Any self-proclaimed ally who doesn't even try to get my pronouns correct is a huge red flag to me. If there are full-on conservatives that Toes despised and villainized so much in the Hunters who immediately, quote-unquote, understood the assignment, as it were, and who treat me with dignity and respect just like anyone else, what is Toes' excuse as a proud leftist and trans ally? If it wasn't all talk, he would be seeking perfection himself, even if I didn't expect it. Even if he wasn't expecting perfection, he would at least try. And as far as the things that he said since leaving and everything, this is just another topic where he's all talk, and ultimately it seems like he's going to behave in the most attention-seeking way possible. It's evidenced how he's conducted himself in his streams after swearing up and down that he didn't want drama, and I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, wish that he had kept his word and that this entire process had never been a thing. I don't want drama. I don't want bad blood. He chose to leave and claimed he didn't want drama, then started drama immediately thereafter in a public setting. This was absolutely miserable to write. I wish it hadn't come to this. All the same, someday I truly hope he finds peace within himself and in his life. That's something he's been missing the whole time I've known him, and I know if he finds peace in himself that situations like this won't be occurring. I'm not the type of person to wish evil on others. That holds true with Toes. I'm not starting now. There are multiple sides to every story, and this is mine. Do with that what you will.
Thank you, Adna. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I take over?
Oh my god! Public reading's scary.
I appreciate you. I was going to read this, guys, just so you guys know. I was going to read this myself. Well, I'm going to stop talking on Discord. I'm going to mute Discord, okay? I was going to read this myself because I know how difficult this was for Adna. She basically had an anxiety attack about this all night. And I had to do all these files and put all this shit together in the last couple of days, which was between this stream and the last stream. I was putting all this information together, which is a lot. It's a lot to do. There's a final bit to this. And I need to get into it. So I'm going to transition back to the in-game screen so I can focus for a second. I just need to focus. Let me go to the other side. I got to think about how I'm going to say this because this is, this part can be a little bit, last time I talked about this, I got really choked up and I'm starting to get choked up already. So I'm just trying not to be. The thing is, the reason that Toes just can't up and leave is because Hill and him have an apartment together and they've signed a lease together. And in signing that lease, they have a legal obligation together, you know, to pay for that apartment. For them to get out of that apartment, they need to put down $3,000 to break the lease and give it 6 months or give a two-month notice in order to get out of the situation legally. So they would have to put down 2 months of rent, which is about $3,000, plus a $3,000 apartment, you know, a breakout fee for that. Here's the thing. When Hill came here, he was homeless. You know, he came out here and we helped him find work. And it was a good, meaningful job. And he stayed with me for like, I want to say like 4 or 5 months. And it was tough. You know, he was living with my family and myself, but he was determined to get on his feet, and we got him on his feet. And finally, after like 6 or 7 months, like you guys don't understand where he was living in his car to get here. He had to DoorDash in every major city to afford the gas and food to make it out here across the country. He was in fucking the Carolinas. He came all the way across the country. All right. To be here for this, you know, to be here. We got him a job. The job is great. You know, he's making decent money, but he spent 100% of the money he had saved up to get this place together. And if Toes does not pay his portion, you know, if he doesn't pay his part, Hill's fucked. Like, you guys don't understand. He'd be banned from renting apartments out in the state indefinitely. It would take years for that to fall off his credit. It would take years for that to fall off his Arizona renting record. And all that has to happen is that they pay their apartment breaking fee. They can go their separate ways, and Hill will be all right. I've told Hill he can stay with me rent-free. Adna said she could stay with him rent-free. We were all offering to support Hill and Toes can go back home. But the thing is, it fucking breaks my heart because this man has worked his ass off. And it's so hard. Excuse me. I don't want to see him suffer. That's all. He's busted his ass to get out to where he's at right now. He's worked really hard to make it to this point, and I just don't want to see him suffer. He doesn't deserve it. Hill's the victim here. He's the real victim. And that's why I wanted to do this stream. Sorry. It's tough for me to talk about because I care a lot about Hill. I want the best for him. And just seeing him suffer like this is not great. It's not great. I'm gonna do everything I can. We've already banded together as hunters to do whatever we can. You know, we'll raise money for him however we need to if we need to, but if Nakujin goes and he fucks him over, he doesn't pay his portion, Hill's the one who's gonna have to bear the brunt of that. And I really, really don't want to see that. That's all. That's all. That's all I got. Just give me a second. No, we won't. We won't let him fail. It's just he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve any of this. Like I'm not an unfeeling person. I care about people, man. I guess that's my weakness, is that I care about people. And I don't think that's a weakness at all. I just care a lot about people. I think it's really shitty when somebody takes advantage of the kindness of others and uses it then for fucking stream content. It's just a really shitty thing to do. After asking everyone, you know, not to do X, Y, and Z, and everyone else respecting those wishes. It's just a really shitty thing to do. I had to watch the hurt on Hill's face when this person was streaming in the home that they share. He didn't want to go home that day. Hill didn't want to go home that day. He didn't feel safe or comfortable in his own house. He doesn't deserve it. Tendo, hopefully it doesn't come to that. He just needs to pay. He just needs to pay his portion of the breakout fee, and it will be fine. It'll be fine. Okay. That's all it comes down to. Yeah, we were together at the time. It was just, it's hard. It's hard. Don't worry, Tendo. Don't worry. Again, if it comes down to it, we'll figure something out. We'll do whatever I got to do. We won't let the worst befall him. Like, his situation going from being damn near fucking, from not being damn near, he was homeless, from going from being homeless to finding a job, to getting himself on track, to getting his life right, to then following that up with more difficulty in his livelihood being threatened, despite him working a job that's valuable. It's hard. It's hard, man. It's like he just finally gets up on his feet. Somebody comes in and fucking sweeps the ground underneath him for selfish. Like, it's selfish. It's just selfish. There's no reason for any of this to be happening. None. It's just one selfish person's desires who's framing themselves out to be a fucking victim, when everyone else is left picking up the pieces and trying to fix the damage, and we're the ones trying to balance the fucking spreadsheet on this. You know what I mean? We're the ones who are trying to. We didn't get anything from this. We gained nothing. I know, quick. And that's part of why I had to do this is like, I really didn't want to come out and Castor, I don't take your questions as offense to your questions, man. I just feel like it's really shitty that people do this thing. Anyway, a lot, Mutsu. I just finished all the drama shit. And it's behind me. I'll put the VOD up on YouTube. It'll be there if you guys want to see it. Thank you guys for sticking with me for that. If you're here for the whole of it, I hope that gave a lot of context to the situation. If you missed part of it, you can go back and watch it in the VOD. But it is a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Let me take a little break, guys. I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna do some ALS. I just need a minute to fucking step away. Actually, you know what, man? I don't even feel like fucking playing AOS, to be honest with you, bro. I'm just gonna end. I'm gonna end stream. Let me see what I can raid. Just not in the mood to play video games at the moment. I'm gonna go sit with my family. Need to do AOB? Yeah. Let me raid out. I'll go do AOB with somebody. Or Jazzy streaming, we'll go raid her. We never get to raid Jazzy, so we'll raid her. Again, I really wanted to do more, but like this fucking shit tears me up, man. I really hope I never have to do this again. Like, there. All right, I'm sending you guys off to Jazzy. Thank you so much, guys. Everyone that dropped subs today, man, I really appreciate you guys. A lot of you guys gifting subs and subscribing during the stream, and I didn't really acknowledge, and I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make sure that we were able to focus on the topics. You know, I didn't want to get jumping down a rabbit hole, and I appreciate you all. But yeah, I'm just gonna end. Have a great night, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.